जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
May I invite Mr. G. Unnikrishnan, President TMA and General Manager KSIDC to deliver the welcome address. Mr. Unnikrishnan, an accomplished engineer and business management professional, he brings over 3 decades of dedicated service to the Kerala State Industrial Development Corporation, the state's leading agency for industrial and investment promotion. As General Manager of KSIDC's Project Finance Vertical, he leads one of the agency's most critical domains, ensuring robust financial frameworks for development projects. He has played an influential role in the TMA, currently serving as its president and spearheading TRIMA 2025 with vision and drive. Sir, I invite you to kindly deliver the welcome address.
Honorable Governor Shri Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekar-ji, Air Marshal Manish Khanna, AVSM VM, Dr. M. Ayyappan, Mr. Unnikrishnan Gopinath, my dear past presidents, esteemed speakers and panelists, respected invitees and delegates, respected sponsors, our associates, our partners, student chapter members, members of the TMA family, and ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you all. It is with immense pride and joy that I welcome you all to TRIMA 2025, the annual flagship event of Trivandrum Management Association. Every year, TRIMA comes forward, puts forth a topic that has a resonance with the spirit of the times, and this year it's no different. Our theme this year is leadership for an emerging world, navigating technology, entrepreneurship, and social well-being. A very relevant topic that invites us to study, to know more about what kind of leadership is essential in an era of disruption, innovation, and complexity. Peter Drucker once said, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." And how do you create a future? For creating a future, we need good leadership. We need agile leaders. We need leaders who can adapt to the ever-changing environment. We need leaders who can inspire one and all. And we need leaders who can act very promptly, effectively, and efficiently. This year's TRIMA is especially significant to us TMA family members, because we are celebrating 40 years of Trivandrum Management Association. From a handful of visionary leaders whose thoughtfulness gave birth to Trivandrum Management Association in 1985, we have grown to a vibrant association with more than 400 members, comprised by managers, professionals, entrepreneurs, doyens of business, decision makers, and thought leaders. Yes, TMA has indeed come a long way. And over these decades, we have not only facilitated the exchange of management knowledge, we have also played a crucial role in shaping the business management and policy ecosystem of the state. Our contribution is not confined to the four doors of the board. It goes beyond the boardroom are members who are well experienced, who are domain expertise in their verticals. They reach out to the next generation. They mentor students, they support young managers, and they provide ample learning opportunities whereby these young managers are empowered to meet the challenges of the real world. And today, as we step into our Ruby Jubilee, we do that with humility, with pride, and with a renewed promise that we will do better for the society. Now, coming back to my pleasant task, we are indeed honored to have with us the Honorable Governor of Kerala, Sri Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekar ji. Dear sir, in spite of your very busy schedule, you have found time to be here with us this evening. May I, on behalf of the TMA members and on behalf of each and everyone present here, extend to you a respectful welcome. We are equally privileged to have with us Air Marshal Manish Khanna, a recipient of Adi Vishishta Seva Medal and Vayu Sena Medal, a highly decorated officer of the Indian Air Force. A hearty welcome, sir. Dr. M. Ayyappan and Unnikrishnan Gobinathan are members of the TMA family. Dr. Ayyappan is the chairman of the TRIMA organizing committee who was leading us, who is still leading us with his visions and with his inputs. May I welcome Dr. M. Ayyappan. Unnikrishnan Gobinathan is the secretary of Trivandrum Management Association, a vibrant secretary, and may I warmly welcome Mr. Unnikrishnan Gobinathan. Our esteemed speakers and panelists, whom we are eagerly waiting to hear today and tomorrow, a warm welcome to TRIMA. A warm welcome to our past presidents, without whose vision we would not be where we are today. May I welcome Sri A.K. Nair, Dr. Ayyappan, E.M. Najib, Mr. Suresh Babu, Mr. Suresh Mohan, Dr. Saatullah, Mr. Harikesh, and Mr. Ramnath. I trust I haven't missed out anyone. Our valued sponsors and other partners. We have got event partner, venue partner, PR partner, registration partner, etc., etc. And all these sponsors and these partners, thank you so much for supporting us and welcome to TRIMA 2025. We have a couple of awardees tonight. A big congratulations and welcome to these awardees, and I do pray that the recognition you receive today will pave the way for scaling further heights. And our student volunteers, enjoy TRIMA. You are the future that we are building. And to our delegates and guests, I hope this evening will spark new ideas, initiate new deliberations, and even pave the way for new beginnings. So as we celebrate TRIMA 2025 and 40 years of Trivandrum Management Association, 40 years of purpose, 40 years of partnership, 40 years of excellence, and 40 years of building a better tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, let TRIMA 2025 not be just another event where you participate. Let TRIMA 2025 be an occasion which you will cherish happily, which you will reflect deeply, and you will interact meaningfully and lead consciously. Thank you all, and once more, a warm welcome to TRIMA 2025.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce a change maker whose journey bridges finance and purpose with effortless conviction, Mr. Unnikrishnan Gopinath. a banker turned social entrepreneur. He is the founding president of ISAG. His dynamism has mobilized over 1,000 youth through the Shaping Young Minds program, and here in our midst, he serves as the secretary of the Trivandrum Management Association and the general convener of TRIMA 2025. I invite Mr. Unikrishnan to present the TMA activity report.
Honorable Governor Sri Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekarji, Air Marshal Manish Khannaji, TMA President G. Unikrishnan, Chairman TRIMA M. Ayyappan, past presidents, distinguished guests, delegates, and members of TMA. Good evening and a warm welcome to all of you. As Secretary of TMA, it is my pride and gratitude that I present the annual activity report. Taking over this role in TMA's historic 40th year was both an honor and challenge. As I followed the remarkable journey of past committees, I take the moment to salute all the former presidents, secretaries, and their vibrant team for building a strong and respected institution. This year, our focus was clear: enhancing member engagement, building on our professional capability, ensuring execution excellence of our vision. We anchored our activities around ESG, youth empowerment, entrepreneurship, and emerging technologies like AI. Our major highlights are: we began the year with a grand Onam celebration, tripling member participation and creating strong bonding among TMA families. We welcomed 35 new corporates and individual members and over 400 student members from leading institutions like ASB, CET, KICMA, UIT, DCS MAT, and with special programs for students. We have signed an MOU with All India Management Association, IMA, and launched certified management programs in Kerala, focusing on skilling, governance, digital innovation, AI. We started with Kerala Financial Corporation, KFC, as our first client. We are organizing the Shaping Young Minds program with All India Management Association Trivandrum, expecting over 1,000 youth participants in September 26, 2025. This term, we delivered over 25 impactful programs, the majority of which are powered by outstanding commitment and leadership of our 15 subcommittees. A tribute event to Sri Ratan Tata was conducted honoring his ethical leadership, innovation through industry philanthropy, and social impact, building the nation. In ESG and sustainability, a clean stability program was conducted, and an outreach program also conducted in association with the Forest Department and KSCB, led by our ESG chairperson, Sri Pradeep Ayyappan. A study tour was conducted to Nayar Wildlife Sanctuary, World Wildlife Conservation Day, highlighting One Health. That was our theme last year. In the Knowledge and Leadership Development Initiative, an event lecture committee on corporate governance and business turnaround by NCLT judicial member, Mr. K.R. Sajikumar, was conducted for practicing professionals, led by our chairperson of the evening committee, Mr. Srikanth P. Krishnan. Coffee with Corporate Leader program, connecting MBA students with industry leaders. Fireside chat on climate change and biodiversity, featuring leading experts. A management development programs on the amnesty scheme, which allows taxpayers to clear pending dues with reduced penalties, was also conducted in association with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. In the Personal Development and Wellbeing Initiative, a session on effective parenting and counseling by Dr. M.K. Sinayar was conducted. Session on lifestyle modification and preventive health by Dr. Sulfi Nuhu. We also organized a member engagement event featuring leadership quizzes, panel discussions, cultural sessions, and networking to foster collaboration and professional bonding, led by Sri Sedu Madhavan. Youth Development Front, we have organized the National Management Day in association with the Sai Golf Club, featuring the Best Management Team competition, ideation on sustainable tourism, archery challenge, aim with passion, lead with precision, and the golf training with over 300 student participants, jointly managed by all our subcommittees. A session on interview readiness and career building with Colonel R.G. Nair in association with the Koilon Management Association also conducted. Coffee with Corporate Leader program inspired MBA students with insights on leadership, entrepreneurship, and the importance of creating jobs or seeking them. At St. Xavier's College, Nagargovil, with Sri Ganesh Kumar of IOK Fabrications, led by our student chapter chairperson, Srimati Jayasri CEO. Special awareness programs, an event lecture on early diagnosis of cancer by Dr. Suresh Chandra was conducted. Fireside chat on the Operation Sindoor, leadership strategy and crisis management with our Tri-Forces veterans led by Air Marshal I.P. Vipin sir, Commander Bal Govind sir, Colonel R.G. Nair sir, in collaboration with the Calicut Management Association, was also conducted. Driving the regional economic development through global connectivity, we, in collaboration with Adani Port, conducted a management development program on the port infrastructure and global connectivity, providing strategic insights on Vizhinjam's role as a global trade hub and the importance of industry exposure in management learning. By Mr. Sunil Kumar and team, they took the session in Adani. These highlights reflect programs aimed to inspire, empower, and transform our members and the youth in particular. I'm honored to present this report in the presence of our Honorable Governor. Thank you all invitees, members, sponsors, and partners for your trust and support. Together, we are building a management ecosystem that empowers individuals, strengthens society, and drives national progress. Let us move forward with passion and purpose to help Bharat emerge as a global leader in management and innovation. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Dr. M. Ayyappan stands as a distinguished visionary whose name is closely associated with transformative leadership in the public sector as the former chairman and managing director of HLL Life Care, where he redefined public enterprise success with purposes and scale. He has served as president of TMA, he is a fellow of IMA and a recipient of TMA Management Leadership Award. In his capacity as chairman, TRIMA 2025, he brings in strategic foresight and depth of experience to guide this convention. I request Dr. M. Ayyappan to address us on the goals and objectives of TRIMA 2025.
Honorable Governor of Kerala, Shri Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekarji, Air Marshal Manish Khannaji, Shri G. Unnikrishnan, President of TMA, Shri Unnikrishnan Gopinath, Secretary TMA, past presidents of TMA, distinguished guests, delegates, members of TMA, and dear members of media. TMA is 40 years young today. At this point of Ruby Jubilee celebrations, we remember with gratitude the leadership and guidance of our past presidents, members, co-chairman of TRIMA, organizing committee members of TRIMA, and all those who participated and contributed to our programs during the last 40 years. A hearty welcome for all present here to TRIMA 2025, the flagship annual convention of TMA. The central theme of this edition of TRIMA, Leadership for the Emerging World, Navigating Technology, Entrepreneurship, and Social Well-being, is not just the focal point for engaging conversations, but a clarion call to the entire spectrum of stakeholders. It invites each one of us to imagine how Kerala and especially Thiruvananthapuram can evolve into a center of excellence for shaping future-ready leaders who will navigate a world of disruption and opportunity. We are deeply honored to have the Honorable Governor of Kerala, Shri Arlekarji, for inaugurating this two-day convention with your inspirational presence. We are equally privileged to have Air Marshal Manish Khannaji to deliver the keynote address on strategic leadership under challenging circumstances. Probably we will not get anybody to speak on this subject, especially the strategic leadership under challenging circumstances. In today's complex global environment, leadership is no longer defined solely by power or position. Operation Sindhu reminds us that leadership is a verb and not a title, an action we practice, not a privilege we inherit. True leadership is measured by the ability to embrace change, drive inclusive innovation, and uphold values that place people and planet above short-term gains. Whether it is harnessing AI, automation, or Industry 4.0, or addressing mental health, equity, and environmental justice, the emerging world demands leaders to be agile, empathetic, and ethically grounded. Leadership is all about seeing the future. Leadership is about goodness of the society. Leadership is a responsible behavior. Leadership is about the value systems. Profit and purpose, of course, must walk hand in hand to make every human enterprise to be sustainable. Kerala is fortunate to have a highly qualified talent pool, robust infrastructure, and a legacy of social development, indices of which compare well with the most advanced countries. What we need now is a roadmap to connect these strengths, not the weakness, into a coherent vision. TRIMA 2025 aims to offer just that, a blueprint for leveraging the capital city's potential to shape the next generation business and societal leaders. The next 2 days, we will hear and also learn from an impressive lineup of thought leaders, 25 speakers in 5 sessions. We also will present the TMA NIMS CSR Award 2025, the TMA Adani Startup Award for Socially Relevant Startups, and the TMA Kim's Health Team Presentation Award for Emerging Management Talents, recognizing the ecosystem of impact around us. TRIMA is not just a conference. It's a platform of convergence where disciplines meet, generations engage, and ideas convert to action. We envision this event as a decisive first step towards a statewide movement, I repeat, statewide movement, one that starts with the capital city, but ripples across Kerala to create a knowledge-based, equitable, and innovation-driven society. As we look ahead, our post-convention actions will include 3 things. What I meant is the outcome of this convention will be 3. 1, establishing a center of excellence for shaping future-ready leaders. Our dream is to establish an institution for leadership with the association of educational institution or some other corporate houses. Second objective of this convention is to launch a knowledge platform by creating an online hub that curates conference videos, speaker presentations, research papers, and tools for public access and ongoing collaboration. Third objective is to engage with educational institutions and conduct leadership programs and case studies and embed the theme into curricula. Friends, leadership is not confined to conventions. It is activated in our classrooms, startups, corporations, communities, and homes. If this convention achieves one goal, let it be this. Let the conversations here inspire each one of us, not just to reflect, but to act, to build, to include, to lead with compassion, and ensure that Kerala's leadership story is one of excellence and equity. Let us make these 2 days a celebration of learning, a commitment to purpose, and a launchpad for collective progress. There is nothing like a good company or a bad company. There is nothing like a good country or a bad country. It is only a well-managed company or a badly managed company. It is only a well-managed country or badly managed country. It is all about leadership, purpose-driven and value-driven. Leadership is the answer for everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ayyappan. It is an honor to welcome a truly distinguished leader of exceptional vision and valor, Air Marshal Manish Khanna, AVSM VM Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief of the Southern Air Command. With an illustrious career that began in 1986 as a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force, Air Marshal Khanna brings with him decades of rich operational expertise spanning air defense, ground attack, and strategic reconnaissance. A Category A qualified flying instructor, he has logged over 4,000 hours of accident-free flying and has led numerous key commands, including fighter squadrons, flying bases, and the College of Air Warfare. Decorated with both the Ati Vishesh Seva Medal and the Vayu Sena Medal, he also holds a PhD in Defense and Strategic Studies, a testament to his commitment to intellectual rigor and national service. His leadership continues to shape the future of aerial strategy and defense excellence. It is our privilege to have him with us today. May I now invite Air Marshal Khanna to address the audience.
Honorable Governor of Kerala, Shri Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekar, ladies and gentlemen, Jai Hind and a very good evening to each one of you. Sincere thanks from my side to the team here at TRIMA for having organized this event and giving me the opportunity to be here with all of you today and amongst this distinguished gathering. So thanks to Mr. Onni Krishnan, Dr. Ayyappan, and all those who have made this possible. It's indeed a privilege and honor for me to be here and to address all of you. I'm really delighted to be here. You all are the movers and shakers of our economy. You all are innovative. You all create wealth, and you also create jobs which eventually sustains this economy. I have been flying, I've been with the Indian Air Force for almost 4 decades now, and I've been actively flying a fighter aircraft. If you add the National Defense Academy to it and the Air Force Academy, that's another plus 4 years, I would say. Flying has, always, it's been a passion with me ever since I joined. It still is. Whenever I get the time, I take the time out to go and fly. It's the preparation for the flight, executing the mission along with your, teammates as such, and the debrief which follows consequently. It's almost a state of flow which all of us experience while we are intensely engaged in our jobs. And not to miss out the adrenaline rush which comes in with fighter flying. Till around 25 years of service, our officers and our pilots and technicians, everyone, they actively are involved in flying operations. They are invariably in squadrons. They are in the field units where they project and deliver combat air power. And for example, the squadron is a team which we have, which really projects, combat air power at the ultimate level. And leadership here is all about, small team dynamics and leading your men to war. After about 25 years of service, the quantum of flying which is available, actually reduces. The quantum of, field work undergoes a change over here. And pilots go through, and others, officers also go through a series of professional military education which prepares them for the higher level, the next higher level of leadership. It prepares them with their, whatever are their next assignments which are due. We have courses such as the Higher Air Command course and the National Defense College, which is available. And after this, they could be employed anywhere, right from handling human resources, promotions, policies, intelligence, procurements, security. They could be commanding a college or commandant of a college. All the while, they are intensely involved in policy making, as well as during operations, they are involved at the strategic and the operational level. These courses provide our officers with the necessary tools and education to take on their next assignment. And because this continued education is really important, because it not only enhances one's knowledge, it also enhances and develops one's personality and gives confidence to a particular person. And this ultimately impacts the quality of leadership which accrues. Therefore, strategic leadership is what we are all here at TRIMA here for today, and to look at strategic leadership under challenging circumstances. Having witnessed 2 world wars in the previous century, and thereafter having seen the aftermath of that and put in place a large number of accords, alliances, and protocols to foster peace in this world, we have actually transitioned into the 21st century with conflicts all around us. You look at 2001 Afghanistan after the 9/11 attacks, quickly followed by the second invasion of Iraq in 2003. You had 2006 skirmish at Lebanon. Libya followed with a leadership change in 2011. Ukraine started off in around 2014 and continued till the time it really came into its being in 2022-23, and it still continues now. Syria still continues to be a melting pot. You have Israel and the 4H, as I call it, the Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, and of course Iran in it. It's an imbroglio which is ongoing right now. The rise of China has even got the US worried to a large extent. And US policies right now are on the verge of starting I would say, a global trade war as it might be. India too has had its share of terrorist incidents. We had the Uri attacks in 2016, followed by the surgical strikes. 2019 was Pulwama, followed by the Balakot strikes. We had 2025 Pahalgam, followed by Op Sindoor. Similarly, with China too, we have had our issues. It's been 2017 was the Doklam standoff, and thereafter we had the Galwan clashes which took place in 2020. Therefore, realism in international relations is really the order of the day, and geopolitical divides are presently undermining international law. They are affecting great power rivalries, affecting the global energy markets as well as the global trade, and probably even proliferating the spread of nuclear weapons. The Indian economy is the 5th largest GDP in the world, and it is poised to be number 3 in the years to come. The government has taken numerous initiatives to realize this vision by confronting barriers in science and technology, human development indices, poverty reduction, job creation, as well as strengthening of our armed forces. We all, in our respective fields, face complex problems on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes we find there are no simple answers for it. And there could be different reasons leading up to the complex problems that we all face. And very often these reasons are unidentified. It's not an ideal world. We all make mistakes as we move along. However, the challenge for us is to catch the mistakes fast and really respond before the situation deteriorates from I would say, a challenging situation to a crisis situation. In building a future, a secure future, both for the country, for your organization, for your company, for your business, for your personal life, even for that matter, we must always remember that the future is not a very far-off place. It comes daily in small doses, and we just need to take notice and act upon it. And each one of us, irrespective of our position, our appointment, or our position, is a leader. And because there are always people who are below you, who are looking up to you, and there are always people who are senior to you, who are entrusting you with enormous responsibility. Character and competence are 2 ingredients of a leader. Character is the ability to judge right from wrong and act appropriately with little regard to the consequences that might accrue. And competence is the ability or a skill to do a particular thing well. During routine operations, leadership is all about an inspiring vision. And it's about a grand strategy. It's to inspire and challenge the people to do well. It's about delegating and preparing the next level of leadership, reducing friction as you go along, and enhancing collaboration. A crisis normally is I would say, a high-stakes event which takes place, which disrupts your normal operations. It demands urgent decisions, and it really tests the leader over here. In trying circumstances, often with the leader having very minimal resources, and often yet in that condition to maintain the morale and the commitment of the people who are placed under you. In a crisis, the leaders are always direct and bold. In the military domain, it could be a sudden event or an escalation, a cross-border violation, and terrorist attack, a surprise missile attack, a surprise attack, a cyber attack, as you might call it. In a military situation, it is often the lives and territory or strategic advantage is at stake. For example, in the Galwan clashes, the Pelgam terrorist attack, the sudden Hamas attack onto Israel. These are some of the examples which come across. Crisis in a business world could be anything that disrupts your operations. It damages the company's reputation. It could be a threat to the financial viability of a company. And it could be either a fire, it could be an IT failure, financial fraud, data breach, scandal, a product recall. The Maggi noodles case of Nestle in 2015, the Volkswagen emission scandal, the crash of Air India, the reputation of Boeing, the Bhopal gas leak, etc. These are the examples which really come up for. For the civil administration, the crisis is a disruption of public order, the safety of the people there, and the breakdown of essential services. It is very complex. While for the military and the corporate, it may be a bit easier, but for the civil administration, it is a very complex affair. This could be a natural disaster, a flood, an earthquake, a pandemic, a civil unrest, collapse of a bridge, a mass evacuation, or a rapid influx of refugees. The Bhuj earthquake, the Yemen evacuation, the Wayanad landslide come across as a few examples over here. In my opinion, there are 4 attributes which are at the forefront whenever a leader is faced with a crisis. The first amongst them is communication. Communication in an initial phase of a crisis or a developing crisis will always be very ambiguous. There will be a lack of information, there will be confusion, there will be fake news, there will be confusion. Let's put it like this. At this stage, someone has to take charge of the situation, or somebody has to be delegated to take charge of the situation. And the choice of this leader will be dictated by his competence and his character. In the armed forces, the command and control chain is relatively very clear. Whenever we face a crisis, we ask for a general recall or a silent recall, wherein all the personnel key appointments we huddle together in our ops room and we take charge of the situation. Normally, a core group is created. And let me tell you, with the first steps in place, the initial steps in place, it helps a lot to tide over the initial flux because strategic control and direction is very important at this stage. In a crisis, it's a time to act and communicate, and communication is the first step towards this. Timely and good communication can douse fires, it can subdue tempers, bring in calm, and provide a correct perspective. The communication should be clear, it should convey a sense of urgency, it should be honest, and it should make everybody look at the correct perspective. Silence here in the initial stages can be an enemy. And all this has to be done with empathy and with respect. The leader, therefore, sets the tone, he conveys the intent, and brings calm to chaos. What has already happened. And what next is what everybody looks up to the leader for. And let me assure you, whenever these crises occur, it's not a time for blame game. That can take place eventually at a later time and date. When you look at collaboration, to collaborate is to work on something jointly across ministries, across departments, across all kinds of verticals. Lots of diverse minds and specializations are really required to come together in a crisis. It could be operations, your finance teams, HR, PR, your medical teams. And this collaboration ideally has to start during peacetime or routine operations. For example, a pilot and a co-pilot have to work together before a flight on cockpit drills as to how they would handle their emergencies in the air if this was to come up. This is fairly well rehearsed, and this becomes a part of their simulator training, as you might call it. and they have regular refreshers. For the pre-monsoon, even in the states, at the state level, during the pre-monsoon season, the state's administration always gets together and decides and holds certain collaboration meetings wherein they decide that who is going to do what, which department will do what, and how will it be done should we encounter any flooding situation. For the corporates, it could be regular meetings with customers or regulators. A leader, therefore, plans for all known contingencies, and he is the one who sets the ground for collaboration. Now, coming to cooperation, little bit similar to collaboration, I would say, but cooperation is your ability to help others. Different departments, different verticals, they all have their niche skills and they have their niche specialities which can help each other. For example, in the Air Force, we have a mutual aid scheme. If one of our bases is attacked, we have tied up with the Army units or the CRPF units around to come and mutually help us around. And similarly, Air Force could be involved in rapid airlift or personnel or relief equipment. Shipping could be used to evacuate. Civil hospitals and private hospitals might suddenly come together in case there is a pandemic. Therefore, strong camaraderie and bonds are very important here. And these have to be nurtured by the leader during routine operations. The leader has to inspire his team to both cooperate and function with a lot of, I would say, vigor and enthusiasm. If the crisis is a wild card, I mean, it's not been gamed earlier, you haven't thought about it, or prior protocols do not exist to address it, then the leader has to lead by his presence on the ground where the action is taking place. And he has to be, straightforward, direct, and very bold in his communications. Another important aspect of cooperation, I would say, is trust. Lack of trust undermines both collaboration and communication. A leader in a crisis situation is therefore a single point of cohesion. He builds trust within the teams and departments. He stays open to diverse views and reduces friction, if any, and is ready to take on fact-based criticism. With the new information emerging, he has to be really willing to take on new responsibility. He should be willing to change his decisions also, which he has taken earlier, based on the new information which has emerged. And changing your decision is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it is a sign of strength. He has also got to kindle a sense of gratitude between his departments and verticals. I give the example here of a shopkeeper and a customer. Shopkeeper has to be grateful that the customer has come all the way to him and is a means of his livelihood. And the customer also has to be grateful to the shopkeeper because he is providing him all the resources under one roof for him to pick and choose. And finally, trust is built by professional and ethical behavior. Recently, a ship off the coast was on fire. Here, the civil administration, the Coast Guard, the Indian Air Force, the Indian Navy, all brought in their core expertise. And I can tell you, the trust here amongst all of them was very strong, which resulted in a success. And of course, finally, I would say there is commitment, a commitment of time and energy. This commitment of time and energy is important to plan and execute actions, especially in a crisis. A leader's energy and enthusiasm is contagious. It sets the momentum, direction, and it sustains your plan. On the other side also, during intense operations, it is time actually for leaders at a given time, having addressed the situation, to fall back a little bit, to be able to recoup yourself, to be able to rest and get back into action. We should never be landing up in a situation where the key leaders themselves are enduring fatigue, or they are functioning at suboptimal levels because they haven't taken the required rest. So leaders need to take care of themselves and their health also as well. And of course, a leader, I quote, it is, very easy to undervalue what we don't see. And therefore, a leader has to move around, he has to be seen, he has to listen, and he has to understand in these challenging situations as they might be. Well, I had actually thought we'll discuss a few of, case studies over here. However, I'll just, skip these for the paucity of time. Basically, I just wanted to highlight, for example, in the Yemen evacuation, 4,700 Indians were rescued. It was a team effort across the board by everyone. And this is where how the communication played out, the collaboration played out, and the cooperation and commitment. A large number of players were involved in this. We had the Air Force, Navy, the Lakshadweep administration, the Ministry of External Affairs, all working seamlessly with the Indian Air Force C-17 naval ships, Lakshadweep administration ships, etc. So this was a classic example where everything went in a conflict zone. Well, you are aware of this, resulted in a financial loss. Nearly 38 tons of Maggi was withdrawn. Sales dropped to almost zero. And here, when you highlight, I would say, the communication part of it, it was pretty clear. It stayed on the steady approach of trust us and we are really safe. And there was intense collaboration between the regulators, between the courts and Nestle so as to tide over this crisis, and they did come back. The emission scandal which took place, $30 billion in fines. The CEO had to resign over here. There was loss of public trust and a massive recall which went across. And initially, the CEO denied all, as if they denied the, to acknowledge the situation. He resigned, of course. However, when the new CEO took over, he, tendered a public apology over here. And once again, you see the collaboration and the, cooperation which took place amongst various regulators and different bodies and a different scheme of times. Recently, we had this Wayanad landslides. A large number of people lost their lives in this. And this is where the, 420 lives lost. Yeah, even in the papers, it was making headlines. Even today, I would say. Power, telecom, roads, infrastructure, everything was out in this place. Once again, the communication was good. There was lots of collaboration between various agencies and NGOs and the armed forces to be able to, collaborate and cooperate with each other. Only then was it possible to provide relief in these challenging circumstances. Air India crash, I think enough has been said about it. I'll just skip this for the time being. But nonetheless, I would say the PM did address the nation over here, and he visited the site also as well, adding a emotional connect with all of them. The communication has been balanced. Interim report was also published, and of course a lot of collaboration between Boeing, Ministry of Civil Aviation, DGCA, and foreign bodies such as National Transportation Safety Board of the US. And of course, a lot of people contributed in the rescue operations, medical evacuation teams, and medicals and other places. Pahalgam terrorist attack, this is the last one I'll just highlight quickly. We are all aware, 26 people were killed. India's immediate response was a 5-action point plan. There's a debate in Parliament going on right now because of that. And all these actions were taken, including diplomatic actions, and a firm resolve was conveyed. The Prime Minister here and the Home Minister, had to cut short their visits, planned visits. I think the PM was in UAE at that period. They all cut short their visit, reached back. The Home Minister headed for Pahalgam. And all this was to showed a lot of solidarity with the victims. And the PM and the Home Minister, they issued a lot of statements which are non-provocative, I would say. And yet they conveyed conveyed a very firm and responsible response by India. There was a CCS meet, press briefings, as you know, were held. A civil defense drill was also initiated for blackouts and other things, and there was a huge diplomatic initiative. So large number of players were involved once again over here. You had the RAW, NTRO, all the intelligence agencies. The tri-services response was there. The Air Force spearheaded the attack over here, taking out really high-value targets deep inside enemy territory. And also the air defense, the entire air defense grid was activated. The army also did its bits by artillery shelling and also by deploying the air defense systems. And the local police, they're continuing to track down the perpetrators even till today. And the J&K government took full responsibility. And of course, I would say the PM was the strategic leader in a situation like this. The NSA was the operational leader, bridging the gap between the political vision and the execution of operations. And the service chiefs were the tactical leaders here. They devised the strike plans, the risk assessment, the air-to-ground coordination which was to be done was done by them. And of course, the governors there and the Home Minister, they were the public leadership face of it all. So this was just to highlight how all these elements of the 4Cs, cooperation, collaboration, commitment, and all these things come together in a crisis, and this is where leadership plays a very major role. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your words. They brought clarity, conviction, and deep perspective, reminding us of the values that define true leadership and national service.
Now may I request Mr. Unnikrishnan, President, TRIMA, to hand over a token of gratitude to our respected Honorable Governor of Kerala. And I also request Chairman TMA, Dr. Ayyappan sir, to kindly hand over a memento to Air Marshal Manish Khanna in recognition of his valued participation in today's convention. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived for one of the most cherished traditions at TRIMA, the TMA Award presentation. This honor, presented by our chief guest, the Honorable Governor of Kerala, Sri Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekar, celebrates outstanding contributions to leadership, innovation, and management excellence. These awards reflect not just professional achievement, but a commitment to the values that TMA upholds: vision, resilience, and service. May I now invite our chief guest, the Honorable Governor of Kerala, to kindly join us in presenting the TMA Awards to this year's distinguished recipients, honoring excellence in corporate social responsibility, startup innovation, and academic excellence. First, we have the TMA NIMS CSR Award. This year's award for corporate social responsibility goes to ISAF Small Finance Bank in recognition of their unwavering commitment to sustainable banking and impactful community engagement. We have, to receive the award on behalf of ISAF, Srimati Sandhya Suresh, Head Sustainable Banking, ISAF Small Finance Bank, and Sri Win Winsel, Assistant Director, ISAF Foundation. They'll be presented with a citation and trophy celebrating their remarkable contribution to inclusive growth and ethical finance. Moving on to the next recognition, the TMA Adani Startup Award. Moving on to the next recognition, the TMA Adani Startup Award, celebrating the spirit of innovation and entrepreneurship. This year's Startup Award is conferred upon IntelliOrg Technologies Private Limited, a rising leader in tech-driven solutions with vision and impact. May I also request Pradeep Jayaraman, CEO Adani Vizhinjam, to kindly join us. And to receive the award, we have Mr. Deepu Xavier, co-founder and tech head of IntelliOrg Technologies Private Limited. We honor their ingenuity, grit, and commitment to shaping a smarter tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now turn the spotlight to some of our brightest young minds who have turned ideas into impactful presentations. The TMA Kim's Health Team Presentation Award honors creativity, clarity, and relevance. These students have delivered all that and more. I invite Dr. M.I. Salvador onto the dais to present this award. The first prize, joint winners from CET School of Management, we proudly present Mr. Aravind S. Ashok, Ms. K.V. Shobani, Ms. Nidhi Krishnan R. Let's have a resounding round of applause for these remarkable achievers as they take the stage. They will receive the award along with their faculty in recognition of their outstanding presentation and teamwork. The awards include a certificate, a trophy, and a cash prize of Rs 15,000. The second prize is also joint winners from the CET School of Management. So let's hear it for Mr. Anzal Nazar, Mr. Abhijit AB. And these talented individuals will receive the award again alongside their faculty, celebrating their creativity and diligence. And now, I respectfully invite the Honorable Governor to the lighting the lamp, the ceremonial lamp, symbolizing wisdom, unity, and the beginning of this meaningful journey. The lighting of the lamp signifies the official opening and inauguration of TRIMA 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to welcome a visionary leader whose life has been deeply anchored in service, integrity, and democratic values, Sri Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekar, the 23rd Governor of Kerala, whose presence lends stature and significance to TRIMA 2025. Today, we celebrate a man who continues to redefine governance with compassion and clarity. Please join me in extending a warm and respectful welcome to Sri Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody here. It's my pleasure to be amongst you. Though the theme of the program is emerging leadership, but what I see here is all the leaders who have already emerged now. So the very title itself is Emerged Leaders. So I am sitting amongst or standing amongst before you the emerged leaders of the state, of the country. On this very occasion of the TMA, that is TRIMA in fact, TRIMA 2025, we have amongst us Air Marshal Manish Khanna ji, Chairman of TRIMA, Shri Ayyappan ji, President of TMA, G. Unnikrishnan ji, General Secretary, Convener of TRIMA, Shri Unnikrishnan Gopinath ji, all the dignitaries here sitting in the hall, all the people who have been awarded, felicitated, all the people who have come here to witness and participate in a 2-day program for the deliberations, and my dear friends, sisters and brothers. We have already heard what TRIMA stands and TMA does, and what they are intending to do in near future. The awards are to the people, to the candidates, or to the leaders who have already done something for the society, for the people. And those awards on your behalf, I have just presented them. Awards may not be meaning something different to them, because they have always been involved in such things, getting something different and presenting before the public, before the people, in the interest of the public. That is what the award means. The people who are always engaged in this, maybe research, renovations, discoveries, inventions, for them the awards are just waiting. They walk their path, their road, and the awards just come in their way. That is what happens always for all the people, those who are engaged in such particular task. And gradually they themselves emerge as leaders. What we have to do next has always been taught by this process to them. And what are we for here, that always they have presented before the public. What we need to do, like people like me, we must understand their notions, understand their practices, their path, and their walkings. Then only a person like me will understand what they are doing for the society and gradually they are emerging the leaders. Leadership is not a different quality. It gradually comes within yourself as you go on working and working and working. That itself emerges. And that itself is a part of management. Leadership doesn't come as a windfall or because of your dynasty. You have to have certain qualities within yourself, then only you emerge yourself as a leader. You have to work hard for that also. We have had, not only our country, all the globe, the world over, the dynastic rules. And then gradually the leaders evolve themselves. But those people who could not prove themselves as the leaders, could not gain any abilities or capabilities, are nowhere to be seen. But those who have been given some opportunity to be leader by their dynasty, or those who have not been backed by any dynasty, but the opportunity has been given by the people and the public and the situation itself, atmosphere itself, have proved themselves to be the leaders. Mahatma Gandhi was never a dynastic person. Leadership never came to him as a windfall. He had to work for this particular country, for certain values, for the people, and gradually he emerged as the leader. That leadership quality has to be within ourselves. Shivaji Maharaj was never a dynastic person, though he had, but his struggle for the dynasty, for the kingdom, or to become a ruler, was always supported by his initiations of management. Management is the biggest quality to become a leader. You have to have that quality. We have always heard about Shivaji Maharaj, that how he killed Afzal Khan, and it was, having such a small persons of the soldiers, quantum of soldiers, and which a very big army of Afzal Khan when he comes there. And Shivaji Maharaj kills him, eliminates him from the scene. That was the management. How he could manage that. And his management was not only seen on the fields, battlefields. His management skills were also seen, or even we can study today, how he managed his kingdom, how he managed his Swaraj. It is not only in case of Shivaji Maharaj. Many saints in our country, those who were preaching about the spirituality, they also taught us what was management. In Maharashtra, there was Sant Ramdas, and all those shlokas, if you go through them, you will understand what the management is. If you go through the preachings of Saint Narayan Guru here, you will find all the principles which are being taught today of the management are there. What Adi Shankaracharya taught us was nothing less than management skills. We have to have that vision to look at it. And whenever we look at such visionaries, their actions, their preachings and teachings, then we find that all those management skills are within this soil, within this country, within this our spirituality itself. Management can be of different things. There can be a celebration that also has to be managed. There can be a disaster that also has to be managed. It is not that the corporate affairs are to be managed. If we arrange a certain function of this kind also, we have to have some certain management skills. When the names are called, those people are to be here nearby so that they do not waste time. That is also a management skill. Whenever you call out a name, whenever you when the people who are sitting there, they say something, they narrate something that has to reach to the everybody's ear. That is also a management. Must be understood, must be known by everybody. So management is not just managing your corporate affairs. Management has to be there in everyday's life also. I will just not name, but there is a big corporate multinational company, and topmost leader of that corporate, that is an MNC in fact now, and that MNC, their head of there, hails from Goa, and I know him personally. He is no more now. I know his family also personally. He was managing the affairs of that company so well, beautifully, and well-skilled person he was. But always saddens me. But he could not manage his own family. Don't we require such skills for our managing our families? Don't we require such skills to manage our homes and houses? Or are we just corporate leaders? Are we not our family leaders? If some family or an house collapses, who is responsible for that? We all are to be blamed for this. Because we claim to be managers, we claim to be corporate managers, we claim to be good, having management skill, but we do not know what is the skill required in my family to manage my family. That is also a skill. We have to look at for this skill. This is just like what we have done today. We tried to import all Western ideas of corporate management, of skill management, and forgot what we need to do for our management. We were just happy with the corporate management from the Western skills. We tried to implement Western models of economy. And from there, gradually, we were just Westernized in all senses. We need to look at our corporate affairs or family affairs. If we do not look at it, just now, Air Marshal was showing us by his presentation, what were the things I was just looking and just trying to recall. He showed many things there. He was also referring to Wayanad disaster. That Wayanad disaster, what I feel is that there is some management is lacking there. After so many years, still many people have not been given some shelter. What is the reason for that? Since I have now been in Kerala for 6 months now, twice I went there to that place particular. I saw that where it was, the landslide was there and how the disaster had happened. We tried to manage that disaster that time. What about the next thing? Did we try to manage that? We did not. We were waiting for this, that this has to come, that has to become, and that because of that, all paperwork has been done, paperwork. I spoke to the people there, all the government officers. They just giving me excuses. Sir, this has not been done and this has not come and we could not do this. There is where management and leadership lacks. There is no leadership, there is no management here. We could have done that. But for that, we require some sort of humanity. We require humanity to these such things. There were celebrations also, and we could not manage the crowd. I did not tell you what happened to the cricket match in Bengaluru. We were celebrating, but we could not manage the crowd there. Who is responsible for this? All those people who were supposed to manage were corporate people. They were skilled in management. They were supposed to manage the crowd. Just go through their names and their qualifications. You will understand they are all good at skilled people in the management, but could not manage the crowd. Many people had to lose their lives. Who is responsible? That management is not, the skills of the managements are not just for textbooks. Though letters, we understand letters very proudly and very fluently, we can speak about that. What about understanding the spirit behind those letters? Spirit is humanity. We should have done everything that is possible there. At the time of Kumbh also something happened there against stampede. And nowadays we hear all those such things. We need to put there people who are responsible spiritually also. Those who understand everything about disaster. Those who understand about the management. Just lip service for the management will not sufficient. It has to be done in a proper way. If we do not have that humanity, then everything goes away. Air Marshal Khannaji was referring to Operation Sindoor. It was the best example of management. How it happened. Pahalgam happened. But after that, when the Operation Sindoor was there, the leadership knew what is to be done and when to be done and when to stop. That is the leadership. The leadership knew what to strike and what not to touch. That is the management. And that management was done by the leadership. That was a good example of cooperation. Khannaji was telling us, we have had first time CDS in our country. And that CDS could manage, brought all the three forces together in the interest of Operation Sindoor. And that has proven and that has given us big results. Precise results, what we wanted. And we did what we wanted. That is the skill of management and that is the product of leadership. Skill of management and the leadership came together and we have seen Operation Sindoor. World has seen. World has to appreciate it. Against their wishes also. So all these things, because when we have some humanity within us, I have to do this in the interest of my 140 crore people, then the management happens, then the leadership skill is developed, and then everything is brought forth. Everything. If we do not have that humanity, we will be useless. Having all the skills, knowing all the skills in the textbook, we will be doing nothing. We will not be able to do anything. That has to be there. Then only we can be good leader. Then only we can become some good management people. I remember one incident, must have told to you any other occasion also. Prior to this, I was governor in Himachal Pradesh. That was, in fact, prior to this, I was in Bihar, and before that, I was in Himachal Pradesh. I was moving around to some destination from Shimla, probably at Solan or so, and that time, my ADC was sitting with me, and we were traveling. It was a travel of about more than 2.5 hours. And then we were traveling. He just asked me one question while sitting in my car. He just wanted to pass time, probably. But he asked me one question. Sir, I want to know. He was knowing that in my previous assignments, that is, I was a party functionary of a BJP. He asked me, Sir, how to become a good politician? He asked me. Good politician, I also had a little bit pause within my mind. Good and politician. Can these two words go together? I don't know today's dictionary what it says, but these are just opposite word today. Good and politician. So I was also taken aback when he asked me this question. I said, but I recovered myself, being politicians in earlier assignments. So politicians always have that capacity to recover for any situation. So I recovered and told him, look, my friend, there is nothing called good politician. Can you tell me, I asked him, is there any good IPS officer? He was IPS officer, my ADC. Is there any good IPS officer? Is there any good doctor? Is there any good lawyer? Is there any good judge? I am making very responsible statements. Please note. Is there any good chartered accountant? Is there any good IAS officer? He was confused by these questions. He thought something different this person wants to take. And I asked him, did you understand what I want to say? I told him there is nothing called good IAS or IPS officer. There is nothing called good lawyer or nothing called good judge. There is nothing called good doctor. There is nothing called good chartered accountant. To be a good doctor, to be a good lawyer, to be a good judge, to be a good IPS officer or an IAS officer, basically you have to be good human being. If you are a good human being, you can be good anything. Good anything. Even good politician can be. But at heart you have to be good. If you preserve that goodness within our heart, then we can deliver anything. The disaster management and other good things to be managed can be done if I have goodness in my heart, with that humility and humanity, I can deliver anything. That is what we need to do today, my dear friends. We have to have this particular notion in our minds and hearts. Our hearts are for the people. Whatever I do as a corporate manager, I have to do it for the people and for the public. For their interest, I am here. Okay, I will be earning a lot of money. Yeah, I have to earn. I don't say don't do that. But ultimately, I am and my corporate, my earnings, all are for the society, for the people and the public. That has to be kept in my mind. Then only I will be a successful manager. Then only I will be a successful leader. You need not take any special coaching for leadership. You will be developing leadership qualities within yourself. That is just what I wanted to say. Namaskaram.
please rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the 40th anniversary of the Trivandrum Management Association. Since 1985, this association has stood as a beacon of excellence, vision and leadership in Kerala's management landscape. We are celebrating the legacy. Please turn your attention to the screen for a short film that captures 4 decades of commitment, innovation and impact in the voices of the past presidents.
Trivandrum Management Association is celebrating its 40th year. It is not just the passage of time, but actually the realization of a vision formed in 1985. TMA came to Trivandrum as a trailblazer, bringing a change in the corporate management landscape of Trivandrum. Having more than 30 years of association with the TMA and held the position of president also of TMA, I consider this as a great opportunity to be with the Trivandrum management.
For 40 years, Trivandrum Management Association has been a catalyst for leadership, entrepreneurship, and meaningful change, shaping individuals, institutions, and the city itself. As we celebrate this milestone, we honor the visionary past presidents who made this journey possible.
ട്രിവാൻഡ്രം മാനേജ്മെൻറ്റ് അസോസിയേഷൻ്റെ 40ാമത് വാർഷികമാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ നടക്കാൻ പോകുന്നതെന്ന് അറിയുന്നതിൽ വളരെ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. തിരുവനന്തപുരത്തുള്ള മാനേജർമാരുടെ ഈ കൂട്ടായ്മ വളരെ ഫലപ്രദമായ രീതിയിൽ ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെന്നുള്ളതും TRIMA എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആനുവൽ കോൺഫറൻസുകൾ വളരെയേറെ ശ്രദ്ധ പിടിച്ചു പറ്റുന്നുള്ളതും ഒരു നല്ല കാര്യമാണ്. ഉത്തരോത്തരം അഭിവൃദ്ധിയിലും നല്ല രീതിയിൽ പ്രവർത്തിക്കട്ടെ എന്ന് ആശംസിക്കുന്നു. നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം.
Good evening to all. I'm really very happy to have been asked to share a few thoughts about
my journey with the Trivandrum Management Association. My sojourn with TMA started right from its early days, though started as a silent member, reluctant to take up responsibilities and attending only a few meetings every year. TMA has come long way forward since then, and today, after more than 30 years, it is recognized as one of the most best performing local chapters by the All India Management Association. I wish TMA all success.
I joined TMA in 1988, and in 1989, the then President Dr. P.V.S. Namboodiripad requested me to be the convener of what has become the first of the TRIMA conventions, which have been regularly held since then. I congratulate TMA on completing 40 years, and I take this opportunity to wish TMA and all its members all the very best. Thank you.
Trivandrum Management Association is celebrating its 40th year. It is not just the passage of time, but actually the realization of a vision formed in 1985. TMA came to Trivandrum as a trailblazer, bringing a change in the corporate management landscape of Trivandrum. Having more than 30 years of association with TMA and held the position of president also of TMA, I consider this as a great opportunity to be with the Trivandrum Management Association in celebrating its 40th year. Wishing all the best. Thank you.
I was the president of TMA almost 20 years back during the period 2004 to 2006. I am excited to see the progress made by TMA all these years. Today, TMA is inspirational. At this point of time when we are celebrating our 40th year, Ruby Jubilee, we are more excited to talk about the future of TMA.
Celebrating its 40 years of successful and dynamic journey of leadership and management, education, innovation, and creativity. I was fortunate to be
I am excited to see the progress made by TMA all these years. Today, TMA is inspirational. At this point of time when we are celebrating our 40th year, Ruby Jubilee, we are more excited to talk about the future of TMA.
Celebrating its 40 years of successful and dynamic journey of leadership and management, education, innovation, and creativity. I was fortunate to be the president of the Trivandrum Management Association from 2006 to 2008. We have brought very eminent experts and speakers from the national level to Trivandrum to participate in various functions and conventions of Trivandrum Management Association. People like Mr. T.K. Nair, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Dr. Mohan Gopal, Dr. Salman Khurshid, and chairpersons of various public sector undertakings and grants have come to Trivandrum to address the management professionals and management students of Trivandrum Management Association. I'm so happy that we have completed 40 years, and I wish all the very best for successful ongoing. Thank you.
It's a great pleasure for me to be part of the Trivandrum Management Association when it is celebrating the 40th anniversary. We have contributed heavily to the society of Trivandrum and Kerala at large in leadership, entrepreneurship, and management. I am pretty sure that we will continue our journey with these core values and remain dynamic in changing our society to a positive way. Thank you.
I'm delighted to learn that the Trivandrum Management Association is celebrating Ruby Jubilee this year. Over the last 4 decades, TMA has emerged as a strong platform for management professionals and businessmen to get inputs for continuously improving the way in which business is managed. I'm sure TMA will continue to play the leadership role presently they are having among the professional bodies in Trivandrum. I wish TMA all the best. Thank you.
It was in 1985. The inaugural function was conducted in a small hall in old block of Muscat Hotel, Trivandrum. As we see now, it was a long, remarkable journey for Trivandrum Management Association. On this occasion, I wish Trivandrum Management Association eventful and fruitful years ahead, conducting several management-related programs and innovative programs in the era of digital transformation.
As we celebrate our 40 years of existence, it's been my pleasure to have been one of the past presidents of Trivandrum Management Association, and I wish Trivandrum Management Association all the best in the years to come. Thank you.
Trivandrum Management Association, established in 1985 by a group of dedicated and enterprising management leaders, is one of the premier management associations in the country. Our efforts are primarily focused at promotional, facilitatory and supportive roles. The three-pronged strategy are facilitatory activities to support the key stakeholder, supportive efforts with the key project proponent or other bodies, agencies and promotional initiatives for driving the necessity of the program.
Let me wish all the members of TMA family and the delegates of TRIMA 2025 on the glorious occasion of Ruby Jubilee of Trivandrum Management Association. I got the opportunity to lead TMA from 2019 to 2022. The passion that I saw in the members of TMA towards making Trivandrum a world-class city inspired me. One of the shining examples you can realize is the Vizhinjam Seaport, which has become the pride of Trivandrum and the whole country. I wish you all very good deliberation and all success to TMA and TRIMA.
I've been associated with TMA almost from the very beginning, that is for the past 40 years. It's been a privilege to be a part of this organization and work towards furthering management. I take this opportunity to wish TMA the best on its 40th anniversary, and here's wishing 40 years of more productive work.
To every past president, thank you. You are the true pillars of Trivandrum Management Association. Your leadership continues to inspire and shape not just this organization, but the city itself.
Thank you.
TMA at 40, honoring the past, inspiring the future.
Thank you. That was a beautiful glimpse into our story, a story that is still being written by many of you present here today. With everyone gathered, it's time for a sweet moment, literally and symbolically, the cutting of the anniversary cake to celebrate 40 years of excellence. I invite our current president and the past president onto the dais. May I please invite the current president and the past presidents onto the dais to cut the anniversary cake. Volunteers, would you please escort the past presidents onto the dais, please? The current president and the past presidents, I request you to come onto the dais to cut the cake. Dr. Sadullah and Mr. Ramnath, would you come onto the dais, please? The knife is missing, I believe. Yeah, so the current president and the past president request you to do the honors, cutting the cake to celebrate 40 years of excellence. Request the current president and the past presidents to do the honors, cut the cake as we celebrate 40 years of our excellence. I request everyone to move to the photo corner for a group photo, please? Request everyone to move to that photo corner for a group photo. When we As we prepare for the next segment, I request all of our past presidents and dignitaries to kindly take their seats. And I request our President, Mr. Unnikrishnan Ji, and Dr. M.I. Sahadullah, Chairman, KIMS Health, to please come on to the dais. Our President, Mr. Unnikrishnan Ji, and Dr. M.I. Sahadullah, Chairman, KIMS Health, to please come on to the dais. As part of this milestone celebration, we are pleased to announce a meaningful CSR collaboration between the Trivandrum Management Association and KIMS Health, an initiative that reflects our shared commitment to service, community, and impact beyond the boardroom. This initiative is not just a gesture, it's a promise to lead with the heart, serve with integrity, and contribute to a future where management and medicine walk together in purpose. For the TMA KIMS initiative, which promises to support the infrastructure development and facilities in the SG Special School, I would now like to invite Mr. Chandran, founder SG Special School, to the stage. And I now request the President and Dr. Sahadullah to hand over the letter of intent to Mr. Chandran. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in this special celebration of excellence and legacy. The journey continues, and we are glad to have you with us.
Before beginning the first session, let me take a moment to thank our platinum and gold sponsors. We have the platinum sponsors KIMS Health, SBI, Canara Bank, and the gold sponsors Adani Ports and Logistics, Caspian, and Silverstone Water Theme Park. Let me give you a brief on the today's session as well as tomorrow's session for TRIMA. We have tech disruption and digital evolution happening today, and tomorrow we have agile leader embracing change and innovation, social well-being, tackling today's challenges, education's role in solving global issues, and it's all about innovation, success, and growth. As we honor the past and celebrate the present, it's now time to turn our gaze toward the future. The first session of today begins with a subject that touches every industry, every professional, and every decision maker, the transformative force of technology. From intelligent automation to Industry 4.0, the speed at which innovation unfolds today is nothing short of revolutionary. And it's not just about machines, it's about mindsets, adaptability, and reimagining leadership in the digital age. Please welcome our esteemed speakers who will guide us through the bold new terrain of Industry 4.0 and beyond.
I now invite the panelists to come onto the stage. Mr. Raj Nair, an acclaimed AI enthusiast, entrepreneur, and strategy consultant, will be chairing this session. Mr. Nair's global insights and adventurous spirit in committing to mentoring and giving back make him a compelling voice on leadership, technology, and social innovation. Mr. Pradeep Jayaraman is the CEO of Adani Vizhinjam Port and formerly led container operations at Mundra Port, India's largest by volume. A pioneer in digital transformation at AppSays, he drove innovations in cloud, AI, and real-time analytics. With global experience across US, Europe, and Asia, and leadership roles at Mars, Dell, GE, and more, he brings deep expertise in scaling transformation across industries and borders. Ms. Suja Chandi serves as Global Chief Sustainability Officer and Managing Director, India at Zafin, leading AI-driven transformation in banking. With prior leadership roles at Nissan Digital, Invest India, and KPMG, she blends innovation with impact. Mr. Vinod Kadar is Executive Director of Engineering for IBM's Watson X Orchestrate and Site Executive at IBM Software Labs in Kochi. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege for me to be here in this august gathering of really intelligent people, and also for the opportunity to moderate a panel of real experts. We had a chance to meet each other a few minutes ago, and I'm delighted that you have in the three panelists people who can really enlighten you about AI. What I'll do is I'll just set the stage with a few introductory remarks about AI, which will help you to appreciate a lot of questions that I'll be asking them and the answers they'll be giving. What we will do is, after I finish a few words about AI to bring you up to speed, we'll have 9 questions to this panel. Hopefully those 9 questions will cover a wide range of topics, subtopics within AI, which are very important for you to know. And after that, we'll have 10 minutes of Q&A, but largely the 9 questions will cover a lot of things you have in your mind I may not have asked. Okay, so let me start with a little story. Today I'm old, 6 feet tall, but there was a time when I was short and only 6 years old, and I used to be a great admirer of the newsreader in All India Radio. I used to think, how can this man know everything that's happening in this country every day? Whatever is happening in the world, he must be really smart. So I wanted to meet him, this guy behind the radio, and I got to meet him, and I suggested to him that if we could put our brains together, I would become so much smarter than I am today, and you also will become so much better at math, by learning from me and art. So together we'll be very, very good, individually and together. So he smiled and said, yes, great, and came and gave me a pat on the back. That pat was actually my father waking me up, and he said, look, it's time, get up, otherwise you'll get late for school. But that dream remained, and today, willy-nilly, it has happened that AI has made it possible. That it's possible for you to use your normal intelligence, normal brain, and combine it with an external brain to do things which you could never have imagined is possible. Over the next few minutes, you'll hear more about those things. But before getting there, let me just say, what is artificial intelligence? What is intelligence to start with? It's our ability to pick up information which is stored in our brain or which we get and through various ways of sensing, process the information and take decisions, take action in a sensible manner. If it is not sensible, it will be called stupid, it won't be called intelligence. And today, over the last few years, people have been devising ways whereby machines can try and mimic how our brain works and be able to produce certain amount of intelligent ability. It used to be 10% of what we were capable of. It's rising rapidly every day as we speak. The level of intelligence is increasing. So hopefully one day, I'm saying hopefully, but many people dread it, AI will become more powerful than our own intelligence. That stage is, when we cross that, it's called AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence. We'll talk about it later, so I won't talk about that. The other day somebody asked me, why this big talk about AI suddenly? Well, it didn't happen suddenly. It's been in the works for the last 60 or 65 years. There was a lot of hope at that time. Then it sort of disappointed, it flattened, it plateaued, and it's only by 1995 when hardware capabilities increased, new digital technologies came, that together they conspired to create a situation where it was possible for AI to make rapid strides. In fact, in 1997, many of you know that a computer defeated the world chess champion Kasparov at a game of chess. It was unthinkable before that, but it became possible in 1997 with a little bit of AI, pretty crude AI, and a strong processing power, brutal power. So they said, okay, we've been able to solve this problem, but what's so great about beating a human being at chess? After all, it's only 8x8 board, 64 squares. How about trying to do in a game called Go, which is played by Japanese and by the Koreans and Chinese? Now this game of Go is very complicated. It's 19 by 19, which means 361 squares. And it's estimated that the number of moves which will lead to outcomes, the outcomes are so many that it's equal to the square of the number of atoms in the universe. I have not done the calculation, but this is what it's alleged to be as big as that. So they said it'll not be possible to use brutal power it's not possible to use, is it better now? To use the brutal power of computing, and even though, as we know the Moore's law, that every 18 months the power of processing increases or doubles, they said it'll take 120 years. But people like Hinton, Geoffrey Hinton, started working on things like language model back in 1980, and it had matured by 2006. He and the students created a method which he called deep belief network, which enabled computers to do far more than it could till then. That's how machine learning started growing, and over the next few years, different kinds of models of machine learning happened. And by 2015, with limited processing power capacity, although it was much more than it was in 1998, a computer was able to beat the world champion in Go 85 years before it was expected. After that, the growth was rapid. In 2017, Google wrote a scientific paper on what is called the transformer model, which set the race for Gen AI or generative AI, which we are really talking about recently. So most people say it's recent because they've only heard about ChatGPT and others. So it all started from the paper in 2017. And now people say that it is possible for AGI to happen very soon. My own guess, many people disagree, is that it will happen in about 5 years' time. But we'll come to that later when we are doing the Q&A. What I want to say is that there are two important aspects about AI which you should definitely know. One is that it is an exponential technology, and second, it's a technology where certain things are difficult to fathom. I'll come to that in a while. What do we mean by exponential technology? The people say that, okay, IoT, blockchain, certain types of biotechnology are all exponential technology. But since our mindset is linear, everything that we've been taught from childhood is linear, it's difficult to appreciate some of the questions and answers which will happen in a little while unless your mindset is attuned towards exponential. So let's play a small game. And I'd like you to participate. Take a piece, imagine that you have a piece of paper, the standard A4 size paper, and you fold it once, it becomes twice as thick. You fold it once more, it becomes 4 times as thick. You do it thrice, it becomes 8 times as thick, and so on and so forth. Now try and imagine you folded it 41 times. Can you guess how thick that will be? Will it be as thick, it will come up to my knee, or will it come up to my head, or will it go up to the ceiling, or will it be as tall as the building? What do you think it would be? Can some people without any calculation just guess? Or as the coconut tree? Anyone in the audience, please? Just make a wild guess. There's no right or wrong answer. The whole point is to understand exponential. What do you think it could be? How high could it be after 41 folds? Sorry? High as a tree. Anybody else? Sorry? I didn't hear it. That's beyond. Yeah, actually, it is exactly the case. It will be as much as the distance between the Earth and the Moon. 3.84 lakh kilometers. Just 41 times you double it, fold it. And if you fold it once more, the 42nd time it will be from here to the Moon and back. It took 41 folds to reach there, but one more fold and it just took you to another level altogether. That's the way exponential technologies work. So be prepared to believe a lot of things that they say. They're not bullshitting. What the curve you're going to see of growth will be like this, not anymore like this, not like this. Okay? So this is one very, very important aspect of AI, which if you don't recognize, you have an issue. I will not talk about AGI right now. I'll leave it to the time when we have our question and answers. So with this, I will move on to the Q&A session. Thank you. I have a set of questions which I have in mind. I'll ask our panelists to enlighten us about them. So ladies first. Okay, Suja, your turn. What are the most exciting emerging applications of generative AI? And could you explain how AI is already impacting certain sectors, pick your choice, banking or manufacturing or insurance or whatever?
Thank you, Raj. It's a good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. and really fascinated by the way you were, talking and putting a little bit pressure on us to deliver, but, we'll take it up in our stride. I'll talk from my experience in banking, because the organization that I head in India, Zafin, we are a banking technology company. In fact, what we have is an AI-powered platform that helps with product and pricing innovation. What that means is, if you are a customer, getting you the right set of products at the right rates and fees or offers or promotion based on the relationships that the bank has with you. So how do we do that? We do that where there is an engine that is working behind the scenes, which is AI. I've really hyper-simplified it, right? We are also a SaaS-based player. In fact, in 2016, we are a almost 25-year-old company, organization, headquartered in Canada. When we started, in 2016, we pivoted, we were an on-prem player, and then we pivoted to becoming a cloud player. And now in 2025, we are talking about AI. We've become an AI-powered platform. You talked about exponential growth, right? That is what we are witnessing. Because when we look at it, one of the things I really like what Satya Nadella says is technology is the only area in which tradition is not respected. You have to always innovate. And so if you don't innovate, you don't understand what your customers, or in our case, people like all of us and commercial customers want, we will fail. So we have taken up AI in a big way, including in the biggest thing for us is how do we enhance customer experience? So I talked about relationship banking. How do we create operational efficiencies, which we do through our platform? For instance, the speed, we talked again about speed, what we use AI for, and the world has changed because I think a few months back even, or last year when I was talking about AI, I was still maybe hinting it as, still a little bit of the future. But now I'm talking about it as somebody who uses it in my daily work and life. You may ask how. So for instance, we are a platform, we're a product company. Our technologists build these products for banks, which does this innovation, in a large part using AI. How? So we use something like, say, Cursor AI, which is a code-based, AI code-based generator, editor. And one instance is how at speed at which we are able to create products or help banks create products. So that's accelerating the product velocity. That's one thing that we do. And one recent case study is we helped, one of the banks that we work with in the US. Usually what takes 3 months at least to create a promotional offer for their customers was done in 5 days. 90% of that functional component that we were able to build was generated using this Cursor AI. But one of the things that is important to note is we don't just let the AI do the work. And I know we may come to it later, but we also have that human oversight happening, or that overseeing of that, because AI is important, but we also have human plus AI, that is, or AI plus human. That is how we like to say it. Another product of ours that we have, and I want to talk about it because it's again from a banking perspective. All of these different banks around the world, they have all of these data that they generate, right? Whether it is products, pricing, offers, promotions. How does a bank compete with another bank? There's a vast amount of data in different formats, maybe not fully, complete, like in PDFs and different kind of things. So we have a product that actually takes this data, market insights from all over the world, different banks, and we make it into a much more structured, normalized data that helps banks quickly and get that information, which helps them build their products and offers to the customers. So there are so many different ways that our products use AI to help banks. But the other interesting thing that we do is our own employees. So 80% of our employee base is pure technologists, right? So they are product owners, managers, engineers, architects. And the others are, maybe in our customer success team, so delivery engineers, architects, solution folks. But the interesting part is that the other 20% as well does the operations and all of that. But the interesting bit is all of them use things like ChatGPT. We recently tied up with we just announced our partnership with OpenAI. What does that mean? It means that we have enterprise ChatGPT embedded into our day-to-day operations. So 30 to 40% efficiency is what we are looking at. So that means all the regular mundane or routine stuff is being done by the AI, right? So we have GPTs created, whether it is learning, whether it is finance, whether it's pre-sales, whether it's sales, whether it's, so the speed at which we are able to now deliver is just mind-boggling.
May I ask you two follow-up questions? One, as if I'm a member of the audience, and one as a person who's fairly deeply involved in AI. The first question is, I, as a customer, I'm pretty happy with the kind of technologies that have come in banking. I can go to any branch anywhere in the country, and I don't have to be going only to my branch, anywhere banking. Things have speeded up quite a bit. I can go to get ATMs from anywhere and get money. So what will this AI do for me that's not already happening? Right. And is it going to cost me more?
No, it's going to simplify is what we like. It cuts through the complexity is what we like to think.
For you or for me as
For both sides, right? Okay. Because, when we offer products, one is, of course, from a B2B perspective, we are working with banks. But what makes it easier for me is when the bank knows who I am, and if I have had a long relationship with that bank, so supposing I'm banking with, one of the, like South Indian Bank, and I've been there since I was like a child with, they know me, they know my requirements, and they are able to create, if they were to do, take up something like this, create specific customized products for me. And they are also able to give me maybe waive off fees, on some things, right? They are building transparency into how they deal with me. So which means they are also ensuring that I have loyalty towards them. So based on that, the more we start to get in, right? Like, which is why we became, like, we are calling ourselves a platform. It's not just one little product. It started off as one product, but it's the end-to-end, right? Throughout the entire life cycle. So you see more benefits coming in because for the banks, it's like, operational efficiency, speed of offers and, things, products to the better pricing. But for me as a customer, it's the transformation. It's able to see what do I get the best information? How do I process it faster? How do I, get something? So a lot of different ways, you can.
So I won't be treated like one of a million customers,
Correct.
but because of AI, the product understands me and my history and my background and can give me a product which is really suitable for me.
A very hyper-personalized experience.
Yeah,
and that exactly is what AI gives you, right? And what we give. Yeah. At the end of the day, when we serve banks, it's basically the customer, and they are getting that hyper-personalized experience.
Yeah. And there's one question I might ask everyone when their turn comes. To you, I'm saying, look, I'm worried that AI has agency. And just for your information, when I say AI has agency, agency means it's got the power to do something on its own without taking any approval from anybody. AI has now reached a stage where it has agency, which means it can even do things which are not supposed to do. For instance, even recently as of December 2024, there was a scientific paper which showed that on AI called platform or model called Claude, AI was cheating. It was lying. It was pretending to do as per instruction, but it was still following the old training it had got. So it's actually, and a lot of data on which has been trained, the global data has been trained, where lots of cheating also happens. So it's also learned to cheat. It's also possible for AI to create its own AI without your permission. And we don't know what that can do. So in the banking situation, can some of the AI actually create problems for us as customers?
I mean, banking, highly regulated industry.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of guardrails that we do within, governance. In fact, I'm part of a committee that we formed called Responsible AI, right? Which, you know, so that goes without saying. And some of the banks are, of course, more reluctant than others. But the point is, if you don't adapt, you may also perish, right? But in the second instance, you know, there are these rogue agents that are happening, which is why there's a lot more investment into the security part of it, training, and a lot of things that are going on the back end, and the human side of it, which is why we are saying it's not AI alone. There is always going to be a human involved. Like the final output is the human. And there are many cases. In fact, there was a recent case where an AI agent went rogue and completely took out the production data, right, from a so there are instances like that. They wiped out the entire data. But the idea is that, you know, we will need to put as much guardrails as possible. We need to train the people who are handling AI. We need to bring in different kinds of experts to understand AI, who are building it as well as using it.
That's very reassuring. No, Pradeep, while we were waiting outside, you were telling us about logistics challenges and opportunities and requirements in this country. Can you explain how, with some examples, how logistics or agriculture or healthcare, how could these be changing because of AI?
I'll try to be crisp. I think it's working, right? First, I'll take, for example, in education, because I just came to my mind because once I came here, real life example, I saw my fellow panelists, both of them took the notes, wrote something, and I turned and the whole page is filled, and I'm also there, right? The teacher is this, right? So, but the teaching methodology for a student like me and my esteemed panelists needs to be changing, right? So education is a place which is going to be disrupted by two sides, right? One, the teaching side, where you will be able to have good quality customized education at an individual student level. So today, everything depends on the student, the teacher. The teacher's capability varies. So that's one, right? So, and at your go, your paced learning and so on and so forth. Similarly, on the student and related stuff, so now there are already a lot of tests some of your kids might be taking where they evaluate the strengths of the individual. You know, your algorithm runs and tells, you know, these are the areas which your kid can be better at. You know, there are already things like that, right? So how do you kind of analyze the strengths and the gaps of a person, and what kind of an education system or a teaching methodology that needs to be there, right? So the moment I saw this, I thought I will definitely, you know, show that because that's an area that is going to be significantly disturbed by AI pretty soon. From a logistics side, the disturbance is already on. So from Vizhinjam perspective, you know, India's first, you know, automated terminal. I'll give you a classic example, right? So if you go to a yard, you will not see anybody, you know. So earlier, every crane used to have 2 or 3 people to operate per shift. Now we have 1 for 4 or 5 cranes. 1 person monitoring, not even actually, you know, working on it. Rain, shine, you know, holidays doesn't matter, you know, it cranks out the product that it is designed to. The other very interesting concept which is happening is the whole warehouse and the way you think about storing, you know, retail and so on and so forth. If you look at the traditional warehouse and the warehouse design, you see that, you know, if you, let's take a, you know, retail. So you go and, you know, rice is in one place. You know, you want to have milk, you know, you need to go somewhere else. But you want to go, say, dal, it's another place. You know, oil, there is another place. There are aisles for each one of this. But imagine a warehouse, an Amazon or Flipkart or Big Basket or whomever is delivering this in 10 minutes time. You place an order. So you are going to place 2 kg of rice, 1 kg of dal, maybe 1 liter of milk, some sugar, some whatever it is. The person is going to go through all these channels and then fill your one order, right? So that is inefficient. And people have already realized that that is inefficient. The way it is actually going towards is your ability to store random. So I will have oil, next to that is rice, maybe next to that is maybe something else, candle and so on. How do you define that whole thing is actually AI is actually deciding on how this whole, your warehousing and warehousing layout and how the products are actually stored, right, from that perspective. The moment you have that, and these are all needs to be customized because this This changes from country to country, this changes from state to state, and what Trivandrum consumes will not be the same thing of what Ernakulam consumes, right? So how do you go to that line of kind of a hyper-personalization is only doable with AI and algorithm, which is already there in certain parts of the world. And they have seen that good 30 to 40% improvement in efficiency rather than going the traditional way of logistics. Sir is there already, so I know it's again, radiology is something, your ability to analyze and give something much faster and much more accurate in terms of deducing, what might be the cause. That is already there. I think there is quite a bit of work that has happened. It is happening and it is already implemented, right? So in the medical field, it's very, very interesting that I generally read through on some of these things and what are the places where you earn maximum money, right? Some of the specialization that used to have money is actually kind of getting diminished across industries, irrespective of whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, whether it is manufacturing, and so on and so forth, right? So that's something which is already there. It is happening. So I joined analytics, or I started analytics way earlier in 2003 when there are only a few hundred people. To Sir's example on exponential growth. And when I tell analytics, nobody, as part of G, that was the first one to set up in India, nobody knew what analytics was. So I have to tell, I was in, technology means it was IT those days. So I used to say I'm in strategy, I work for consumer finance, banking, something like that. If I tell credit card, they'll say, are you part of call center? So it was actually a confusion of how to even define what analytics is. Then when kind of progressed few years, this big data became a big talk, volume, velocity, variety, and so on and so forth. Nobody even talks about any of those things. Those are all done and dusted from that perspective. Generative AI, it's already gone as now agentic AI and AGI is what is being talked about, right? So if you see the young crowd of it, they feel that generative AI itself is one generation old, right? So we need to be prepared, and this is happening whether we like it or not.
Yeah, Pradeep, while you're talking about all these fancy things, I also heard you say that, where there used to be 3 people, now you have none or 1 or something. So what do you think, Sujal? Do you think this will destroy jobs in this state? We need more and more jobs. And is this going to destroy jobs?
I mean, that's the debate that is happening, right? And the fear. And there are reports that, Goldman Sachs came out with 300 million jobs displaced in the next 5 years, right? But what we are seeing in real is it will definitely impact jobs. It's creating different kinds of jobs, but it will also do away with some of the traditional jobs that we are used to seeing, right? I mean, we are already seeing that, like data entry and, even I would say even designers and even coders for that matter, because a cursor AI can code faster, right? You just need that human intervention guy. So it is trickier for people who are coming out of colleges right now to find jobs because they are not trained, they are not job ready in a different sense than maybe what was a couple of years back, because we are looking at a different kind of thinking from them. We are like, the expectations are really different, because where AI, when we talk about AI plus human, right? That human intervention is around creative thinking, ethics, thinking about a domain, right? Like because whatever we, if you were to just take out what ChatGPT gives you, I mean, there are going to be errors, right? So you need that domain expertise. So it is definitely making it difficult or more challenging for youngsters coming in. It is also important for people who are in any level of the job, right? In any level of your career. If you do not unlearn, relearn, you are in trouble, right? Because we all have become prompt engineers now. If we don't, we cannot, right? Like, I mean, and the number of times that we use GPTs or ChatGPT or whatever to ask DeepSeek, whichever you're using, has gone up exponentially as well. I don't think we rely on Google anymore. So if you don't know how to ask the right question, so that means a different sets of skills that we require. So it is not about exactly replacing. I think we are having, human intelligence is being augmented. And I think
so what she's saying, some jobs will go, but many other new types of jobs will come. And the skilling required for the new types of jobs will be different. In some cases, it might be a question of relearning, reskilling. But actually, in human history, if you see, This has been the case. When the first steam engine came, there were a lot of people who are called Luddites who prevented these machines from operating because they're losing their jobs. But soon many, many more jobs were created. Even at the turn of the 20th century, when horse carts, carriages were replaced by automobiles, a lot of people are upset. What happens to all the carpenters who make horse carriages? What happens to all the horses and the people who look after horses? This is going to create chaos. Yeah, but those jobs went and they probably figured out what else they could do. But the whole automobile industry has been created, which instead of maybe 10,000 carriages or 1 lakh carriages, we're talking about 60 million cars a year. We're talking about the supply chain which gets into the cars, to manufacture cars, spare parts, all kinds of things, creating jobs. Forget even the downward chain for automobile servicing, for financing, for insurance. Unbelievable number of jobs have been created because automobiles came and disrupted horse carriages. Likewise, here also we're going to see lots of new jobs coming, far more than the kind of jobs which have been displaced. But we'll come to that. You mentioned one thing, that it can give misinformation or something, wrong information. So I've got a question to you. I've not forgotten you, okay? I've got a question to you. There's a lot of misinformation sometimes you get, fake news, fake videos, fake everything. How do you deal with this sort of stuff? Isn't it one of the problems AI is creating?
It is actually a big problem, and it is getting sophisticated day by day. Now it is almost getting difficult to differentiate between what is the real and what is the fake one, right? How do we, first, is it creating chaos today? Yes, it is. The significant challenge is also a certain set of population today has access to digital content, but they do not necessarily understand the digital technology, right? What goes behind it. So that is going to be a significant population. It is sometimes very surprising when we see news as digital arrest and something else, and some banks calling and scheming things. As a digital person, I'll sometimes think through stating that how can this even happen? It's right on the face. But then you also realize that not everybody understands how every step gets distributed, right? So is it a challenge? A big challenge today. We face it, right? So we have a lot of fake offer letters of Adani floating around. If you see right from our logo to our persons, their designation, because it's all available on social media now, right? So, and it goes, right? How do we, so the long story short is, yes, it's a big cause of concern. How do we manage it today is, at least, there is two things which is also happening. Like, let's first tell that technology is also helping how to find there is a fake through technology. So there is a lot of, if you actually look at the cyber security and few other things, it is again a bunch of another set of algorithms that run and find out whether it is fake or not, right? So that's a different set of algorithms. Second, and it has also actually helped us in a lot of things. How do we kind of understand what the source is to make sure it is validated? Do we need governance? Laws are not strong enough, but will we curtail it too much? So that's another challenge. Do we need to have an overseeing mechanism? So there's a lot of places where it is actually happening, where when you are presenting something, thank you. When you're presenting something, you are supposed to give credit to the source, right? So there's a lot of countries that are coming with regulations in that. Will that help in preventing? Maybe. So can technology help in managing technology better? 100%. Then humans and our own training on how we kind of handle this. That's where even more bigger gap is today. I think that needs to be given some serious consideration.
See, there's some ethical issues also. Like, for instance, tomorrow it's possible to show you, create a video of you climbing up the pipeline and getting into the second floor of somebody's house and coming back with a bag full of goodies. and then they say, look, this guy has got a part-time job of burglary. How will you stand up? The concept of trust is gone, no? If you can do that. And a lot of people think, yeah, this guy in daytime he wears a suit and all that, and at night he wears a burglar suit.
I do agree. I wish I had that kind of second job, which is very interesting, like Robin Hood. But so today, deepfakes are very common, and as I said, it is as good as original. And there are a lot of, I think recently one of the VPs or something of US, somebody called another country leader with a fake voice. And that person actually, a president of another country actually believed that it is actually from the VP of US calling, right? So technology has gone to that level where it is not you and I, people at that level are getting impacted, and they couldn't find that it was fake. I do agree, it's a potential threat. So we need to do multiple steps to make sure that, first is, educating the people, right? And training the people, and to tell them that don't believe in what you see or what you say because the world has changed. It's going to take a while to go through that. Second thing is, proactive actions. When I started doing digital marketing many years back, we used to do a lot of these web crawling and do a lot of stuff. I don't want to name one of the world's topmost brands. We worked on an algorithm, so they have a huge command center. So we monitor the whole world of anything supposed to have negative in this brand-related product or the constituents of the product, so that we proactively take action and so that the brand is protected, right? So this was built many years back. Very, very interesting project. Same thing can be done, right? So now technology has improved, right? Can we kind of find ways to kind of reach out to these things before it gets spread or going viral? That's what exactly we did many years back. Now some things have got a lot more sophisticated, and slightly better regulations and so on and so forth, which is missing today.
It's interesting because, talking about brand protection and so on and so forth, and you said new technology is possible. In fact, one of my companies is actually helping a PR company in the US, which serves about 600 of the top brands in the US, to detect any kind of news happening anywhere in the world which will affect that company's reputation and its share price. CEOs are bothered about share price because they have lots of these ESOPs. And they have to know immediately, and the PR company has to act before the client gets to know. We have created a method. They had a method which used digital technologies, etc., and they thought they were very efficient. Now we have created a method whereby it takes them 1/20th of the time and at 1/3 of the cost. We charge them 1/3 of what they were being paid earlier, although we could have charged less, a little higher than that, yet they would be happy. But we did it because we could get much more work. So earlier we were getting a certain amount of work at about 47% gross margin. I'm revealing a secret here. Now we're getting 7 times the amount of revenue because they're giving us more work, and our gross margin there is 86%. So we are in clover, 14 times more profit by reducing the price to 1/3. But that's besides the point. So this technology is coming. Now, you're a product person. You've been very patient. Thank you so much. And are you a votary for more governance, much more governance? And I'll tell you the context. One of the co-founders of DeepMind, Mustafa Suleyman, who is now the head of AI at Microsoft, he wrote a seminal book last year called The Coming Wave. And I think anyone who wants to know anything about AI, want to use AI, should read that book, The Coming Wave. It's amazing. There he argues that it's extremely important for governments to regulate the AI industry and not let it do all kinds of things. Now, you're a product person from IBM. So what do you think? What's your view? Should there be much more governance? Or do you think, no, we should let the industry self-regulate? Mustafa feels no, it has to be regulated from outside. But what's your personal view? I'm not asking for IBM's view, your view.
Yeah, good evening, team. So my view is that it needs to be governed and it needs to be regulated. And there are reasons. Let me start with an example, right? What we are talking about is systems which uses AI. Many of you are industry leaders and you would be wondering, or you're already practicing, how would I be using AI in my current products and services, and how can I help my customers better, right? So if you look at the adoption of AI today, majority of the companies are experimenting and in the next level of wave, right? Early adopters and beyond, they're trying to adopt technology very rapidly. But practically what we see is, it is still not yet on the mission critical systems. It is still, even if it is in a mission critical system, it is still at the peripheries of it, right? So what is preventing enterprises from putting this technology in the middle of mission critical systems? One of the key parameter is governance. If I put an example, right? If you go and see a doctor, and this may not be true anymore because before you see the doctor and after you see the doctor, you would be now putting your question with ChatGPT and other tools, right? So you will be validating it. But still, let me take a few years back, right? Let's rewind by a couple of years and go back and see. If you go to a doctor and the doctor is giving a suggestion or a recommendation, there is a high likelihood that you will believe it and you go by it, right? What if AI is giving that recommendation to you? Will you believe it? There could be a question mark, right? You may not. What is the reason for that? It is trust. It is confidence, right? So how do you produce trust and confidence? It cannot be subjective. I cannot tell you that you have to trust me. You will not trust me if I say that. And if I say that the second time, you will never trust me. So trust and confidence will have to come objectively, right? So there are a lot of factors that has to be built into AI to bring that out. So that is the first part of governance. So there are different factors around it. For example, one is bias. Anybody here who is not biased? I'm biased for different things, right? So similarly, models are also biased. AI is also biased. What is end of the day AI? AI is a system built using statistical methods on top of data. So you train data and you find a pattern and you build answers based on that, right? So if your data is biased, your AI is biased. So how do you control bias? For example, there was a recent scientific study that says majority of the models that we have today, when I say models, I'm talking about large language models and even small language models, right? But majority of the AI models are fine-tuned to be supportive of people who are asking questions. For example, if you make a statement and ask a model to give 10 reasons to support that statement, it will give you 10 reasons. And the same statement, if you ask the model, can you give me 10 reasons not to support that statement, it can give that also. So it is trying to support you, right? So that is one way of bias, but there are different types of bias. Another one is, for example, drift. You train the model with certain data, but practically over a period of time, your actual real-world scenarios change, and your AI's responses will change. How do you handle drift, right? So that is another one. Most important, like the doctor scenario, right? The medical scenario. If somebody is giving a suggestion, even if it is an experienced doctor, you as a patient, you want to understand, you want explainability. You will ask, why? Can you explain me more, right? And the same question will go for AI also. Can you explain me why you took that decision? Raj was talking about agentic AI, right? That is the future, I'll come to that. But these are systems that are more autonomous and it can take decisions. And when it takes a decision, you want to understand, can you explain that to me? Similarly, when I say explain, right, when you ask the system to explain, it has to tell the steps or the logic it applied to arrive at an answer. Once you see that, and if you're convinced about the path, there is more likelihood that you'll be convinced about the answer and your confidence will go up and the trust will go up. So that is why it's extremely important to have governance. Now the second part is, when it comes to majority of the industries, there is a legal angle to it, right? Because these decisions that we are talking about, it has repercussions. So what is the repercussion? If it is medical, I don't have to tell you what the repercussion is. If it is in manufacturing or, for example, legal, right? If AI is supporting legally, there is a repercussion to that. So this entire domain it will be surrounded by the legal system, which means regulatory aspects are coming into play. So it has to be auditable, right? So how do you build in auditability? How do you build in explainability? How do you build in reasoning on how it took a decision and the data lineage towards that and the proof points, right? So all these are extremely important. So there are two aspects. One is governance, which I mentioned. The second one is regulatory, right? Both will have to be hand in hand, and there is no other way trust and confidence can be built. And without trust and confidence, you can never reach the mission critical situation.
What would you do about somebody, a cowboy like Sam Altman? He says one thing, means something, and then does something else completely. Completely uncontrollable person. And then we also have bad actors like in certain countries, without naming them, who do things or are working on AI which can be pretty destructive. What can we do about, let's forget, you can't do anything about those countries, but at least what do you do about people like this?
So you need to put guardrails around your systems. So that is what you have to do. I'll give you an example. This came from a client conversation. So we were talking about a very basic use case to implement AI, and it was an HR use case, and it was about compensation, right? And this is a very trivial use case. It's not complicated, but for the sake of it, right? For the sake of the conversation, they were trying to put an AI system which can take care of employees' questions to HR, compensation aspects and all. And as you, majority of you would be knowing, and I'm sure there are many HR professionals here, HR is one of the domains which is getting active influence through AI, right? So the question came was, as an employee, I should be able to ask for my salary slip, right? And the AI should be able to give the salary slip to that employee. Very fair. Can be done. Can I get my manager's salary? Not really. So what do? You put some role-based access control or back, and you control that. Again, this is not uncommon, right? Majority of the systems has it already. Role-based access control and beyond. Now, what if I'm asking for my own salary slip, but I'm asking, give me my salary slip with a signature, which has a 40% increment. Now the question is a little tricky, because you're asking for your own salary slip, but it's just a 40% increment, hypothetical. Can the system give it? Because as per the rule, the system has access to your salary. System can give you your salary. All you're asking is just a correction on top of it, or a manipulation, right? So that's an example of guardrail. So you put certain guardrails in the system, and you train your agent to say that. You train your AI, you train your agent to say that this kind of variation is acceptable, but the other kind of variation is not acceptable. If you get a question like that, you need to give a totally different answer, right? So you put guardrails around your system.
Since governance is so important, Sujay, do you want to add any flavor to this point about governance?
I mean, innovation on one hand and then governance. But I think, as he said, not just because I'm in that industry, but there needs to be some guardrails, there needs to be some regulation, right? Yeah. Because where does it all end? Where does it all go? Right. I don't think anyone has got the full head around it. We were just discussing that, right? In terms of, even within, since it's so rapidly changing, I mean, even within corporates, we are trying to figure out how do we select guardrails so data doesn't get out, people don't play with that data, manipulate that data. These are all relevant questions that is not just longer use cases, but everyday challenges that we are
So the good news is that there are two AI product people who are saying that, yeah, there is need for governance. But historically, governments have been years behind technology development. Technology comes, then they figure out what to do, then the bureaucratic delays are there, whatever it is, and it takes a long time. And meanwhile, some damage is done. A lot of good things happen also. Now, I'm going to move to this concept of AGI. Just for the audience benefit, I want to explain that if we, all those things, fantastic things we talked about happening in because of AI, they're all narrow intelligence. You can create an AI which will be fantastic at reading X-rays, sometimes even doing better than a radiologist. You can create AIs which can do help in robotics, in medical systems, and so on and so forth. You can create AI for a lot of things. But these are all narrow intelligence, whereas every one of you is capable of doing multiple things. You have something called general intelligence. You're not just a one-trick pony. You've got so many other capabilities. That's why you're able to live life. So far, AI has been good at certain things, very, very good, but that same AI which was able to beat the world champion at Go will be completely zero at if you tell them to pick up the glass of water and drink it without spilling on their clothes. But soon that is coming, because I explained to you that development is going at exponential pace. And you saw that after 41 folds, it just took one more fold for it to take it to another level. So it's going to happen sooner than we think it is going to happen. And if you define AGI as AI having or becoming more capable or as capable as most human beings at most things. Not better than every human being at everything, but most human beings at most things, then the world will look completely different, whether it's jobs or healthcare or any field. Now, a lot of people in the year 2000 thought that AGI or artificial general intelligence will happen in the year 2000. After 2006, a lot of ML development happened, and therefore by 2010, it was believed that it will be somewhere around 2075. By the time we reached 2015 and 17, the horizon seemed closer. In 2020, they thought this will be between somewhere around 2050. Now, it's believed that it can be anything between 28 and 35. My guess is 30, but it doesn't matter whether it's 30 or 28 or 35. There is going to be life before AGI, which will be different from life after AGI. So I want to ask you, what are the things we should do to prepare for all the major changes before AGI happens? Forget about AGI for the moment. Before AGI happens, what are the things you could expect? So that this audience knows that something is really going to happen and we need to anticipate and be ready, learn, relearn, whatever it is.
So very interesting question. So just give one small example of, 4 or 5 years back, I used to once in a while go have a talk in some colleges with a lot of youngsters. And I used to show a slide of Star Trek. That's the original sci-fi thing, where was done before I was even born, Captain Kirk. So they use facial recognition and things around that, right? So, and the year that was supposed to be happening was 2150 or something. And we are 2025, your phone does it, Digi-Yatra is there, all that has happened already, right? So, so it is happening, it is bound to happen. So today, especially in the AGI field, one of the predominant techniques that is used is reinforcement training, right? So you kind of tell them, teach them, and then observe and learn, right? So it self-learns, right? So there's a lot of deep learning and other things that happens. Today, that is already happening today. But it is still restricted to For example, if I'm programming something, then I tell the machines that learn from me how humans behave or the people who are associated with it. But when it becomes slightly wider, stating that the ability to observe multiple things for the same scenario, and you deduce why that person is doing a specific way of doing certain things, right? That's not far off, right? So because today you are saying that, learn from a person, why he's sitting, standing, walking, maybe the machine does the same thing, right? But if somebody is walking slightly different, somebody is running, somebody is doing something else, for the same situation, 3 people react differently, or 10 people react 10 different ways. The machine's ability to observe all that 10 and then kind of deduce, this is the person, this is what is going on through his mind, this. Then it will decide what is the best way of doing things or according to the machine's own algorithm. So that is what is dangerous. Then it becomes unpredictable because it has learned from things and deducing something which you and I have not anticipated. Is it likely to happen 100%? Yes. When? I don't know, right? As I said, when somebody predicted something will happen in 2100 and it's like at least 150 years before we have seen that in our pockets. Yes, machines will become intelligent. I'll pause. Also, I wanted to say that we need to start learning to free our mind because human mind is brilliant. When I speak to some of the very topmost guys in the AI, in the industry, that's what they say that, we are so burdened on day-to-day operations. Simple thing, if you actually look at the outsourcing model itself, it actually wanted to unburden few people so that they can focus on strategic things. So I think our mind is going to be free and we will do a lot better than what we are doing today. But we need to train our mindset. We need to be ready for it. So from that, there's definitely a positive side. The second side, the machines are going to get intelligent. So from the other people's opinion, so what kind of a governance, what kind of a monitoring, what kind of a regulatory framework that we need to bring in which areas, right? Are there certain areas we should allow it? Are there certain areas we should not allow it? That's again a question, right? So, some countries use genetically modified seeds, some countries don't allow. It has its benefit, it has its disadvantages too. Are we ready? Are there enough people with the right knowledge to decide which are the industries that can help? Right, the Air Marshal was talking, right? If you see the war, it's 100%, even though missiles were flying, whether it is reaching the destination or not is decided actually by technology and algorithms. So I don't know. I mean, it's very, very fascinating from that perspective to observe how the impact, you might have whatever missiles you have, but whether it will reach the destination depends on the opposite sides. AI and technology capability that is there, that is available, right? Yes, we need to be prepared. We need to unburden our mind, new learning, new governance, new regulatory, and maybe a debate of if certain areas should be a go or no go, right? I think that is important.
So Pradeep gave us a good understanding of what you can expect before AGI happens. I'm going to ask you a very difficult question. What will the world look like after AGI happens? And this is a question, I can understand the challenge because so far, no two experts have agreed on what is life going to be after that. For instance, just about last week, Yuval Harari was asked, what will this look like after AGI happens, whenever it happens? He says, it's going to be a world of abundance. We really don't know, but it's going to be a world of abundance. Energy costs will come down to zero. Because we will be able to figure out how to deal with fusion energy to produce energy at zero cost. If energy cost is zero, all of us live our lives differently. If energy cost is zero, all of our many assumptions we make in industry for manufacturing will change completely. And if you think about it after you go home and say, look, if energy cost is zero, how will my life change? You will find answers yourself. You won't depend on panelists like us. Similarly, they say the cost of water will become zero. You know, we use only 3% of the water on the earth for our drinking purposes. We try to increase it a little bit here and there using whatever technologies we know. If, for instance, energy is free, the amount of desalination we can do is unbelievable. So there'll be potable water available to everybody quite easily. And Adani might set up a huge number of desalination plants. Say, energy is free. You just have to set up these plants and you can produce water. And so if water is abundant, this thing is abundant, a lot of things get taken care of and you have a lot of free time, what will your life be? So since nobody agrees on what is going to be life after AGI, and it's not like in 2075, I've said it can be 2030, 2035, and majority of the people in this room will be alive at that time. So they need to be prepared at least to start thinking, what could it be? Or at least start thinking about it. So what thoughts would you share with this audience about what life will be after AGI happens? Very difficult question.
Yeah,
that's
I know
why you've given a lot of rest in the beginning, you know.
I know you said 2 times already that it's a difficult question, and I totally agree with you. And if I were to answer that in a very simple way, the answer is I don't know. I don't know the answer because it's a very hypothetical question. What I know is, I'll give you an example. By the way, I mean, I was very proud to hear your story on a machine defeating Gary Kasparov, because it was our machine from IBM, so it was a proud statement. For me, it was a very proud statement. But when I look at one of the latest technologies that we're building on Watson side, using conversational agentic framework, where you can talk to an enterprise system, AI system, my answer is, in the last 3 years, we re-architected that product 3 times because the market and the technology is changing so fast that we had to revise our strategy and the architecture 3 times in 3 years. I've been working on products for a long time, and I have never seen such an evolution ever, because once you define an architecture, you may change it probably after 6 years or 8 years or 10 years. But changing it 3 times in 3 years, very unlikely. What I'm trying to say here is the technology is evolving amazingly rapidly. So I agree with you. The other part is agentic is not future anymore, it's the present. But in terms of deployment in real life scenarios, it is still near-term future, right? We are looking at a situation where, and what is an agent? An agent is an entity, like you all will be talking to human agents, right? We all are talking to human agents when we call the bank or some other entity. Here what we are talking about, you're talking to an AI agent, right? And the AI agent has certain capabilities, and it can take some decisions, and it can take some actions, right? So that's an AI agent. What we are looking at a near future is when multiple AI agents, like humans, right? If I don't have an answer for a question, I can talk to Suja or Pradeep or Raj or somebody and get an answer. So we are looking at a system where agents can talk to a group of other AI agents and find the answer and conclude it, right? So we call it the multi-agent orchestration. So you raise a question, there is a problem statement, you're raising that to one AI agent who doesn't know the answer, and it will reach out to other agents which will know the answer and figure it out. And it may follow 10 steps or 1,000 steps, right? So that multi-agent orchestration is certainly one important area. The other one is feedback, self-learning systems, right? So Pradeep was talking about reinforcement learning and others, but then agents which can learn from the behavior. If you look at what Air Marshal Mr. Khanna said, right? He was talking about competency, character, communication, collaboration, right? Competency is an agent's ability to do something. Character is the behavior and guardrails that we put around it. Communication, we all know, right? How to communicate that back to the user. And collaboration is the one that I was talking about, where agents can talk to each other, right? And then imagine a situation where it can learn from its own experiences. So those systems are going to be very powerful, and that could happen in the it will happen in the near future. But then AGI will also happen, I don't know which year, but it could be very near.
I was excited when you talked about multi-agent systems. My son's PhD in the year 2006 or 2005 was on multi-agent systems. And he talks about it and he's working on these
It's an amazing system. When you want to book a ticket, it understands that I can talk to another agent which can book my hotel. It can talk to another agent which can take care of my food preferences. It can talk to another one which takes care of my transportation, and then finally give you a complete package, right? So it's a multi-agent orchestrated system.
So it's been very interesting, but all good things have to come to an end. And before we end, we need to give the audience a chance to ask questions. There's just one point I want to mention. We're all evangelists for AI. But you should understand one downside. If AI is so great, why are corporations not implementing AI? Going whole hog. Why are they not going? They're using things which OpenAI and other Claude and are using and are giving us at subsidized cost. Because people are throwing billions of dollars in their R&D. If you actually create you take an AI model and run it in your own premises, you'll see that the operating costs are very, very high. And sometimes certain things might be possible through AI, but it might be cheaper to do through human beings. And I'll tell you why. Because honestly, the way the system which is followed for creating AI solutions, the way it operates is in some sense, it tries to kill a mosquito with a sledgehammer. It goes on all engines firing for solving even small problems. Big problems are cut. Even small problems, they go all engines firing. So the amount of, in technical language, we say, it uses up too many tokens. And there's a charge per token. And the charge per token can build up before you know what's happening. It'll be a huge bill. So unless we as AI producers figure out how to use less tokens for a solution problem, adoption of AI will be slow, although invention and R&D will be huge and products will come out. But that's also coming. A lot of us are working on how to use less tokens for a particular problem. I mean, like instead of 100 tokens, can you use 5 tokens? That's the kind of challenge. And there are some new technologies like liquid neural networks and all that, where it comes down drastically. But let's now quickly go on to the audience. And although you have a wide range of topics covered and very interesting views from experts, I'd like some of these mics to be available for people in the audience. So ask any question, but when you ask a question, say, I'd like Suja to answer, I want Pradeep to answer, or somebody else to answer. Okay? Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for mic sharing. It's very, very interesting and very informative talk I hear. And I'm Dr. Nahas, Managing Director of Littoral Global Research Foundation. Being a researcher, I am always concerned about the AI because the Suja madam talked about unlearn and relearn things. So my question regarding this traditional business, how are the disruptors like the AI, automation, and Industrial 4.0 transforming the traditional business model and workforce dynamics? You're clear? Yeah?
Automation, you already said it, I mean, faster, accelerating the velocity, to outcomes, basically, whether it's products or services. So whether it is any industry that we are talking about, the way that, we are looking at people who are going to come in and be part of that industry, the way they are trained has to change, right? You're talking, because, you know, I mean, whatever said in, you know, I mean, whatever, whether we like it or not, every industry has to adopt technology, and they are doing it in a fast pace. Now, you have to train the people. That is why that AI plus human. So to answer your question around workforce dynamics, it's basically to reskill them. That is where we talk about reskilling or upskilling, right? Without that, it's going to be a challenge. Now, if I look at my industry and how we are hiring, our hiring requirements have changed. Earlier, we used to look at, you know, specific skill set. Okay, we are hiring a product engineer, or we are hiring a software developer. We used to look at specific skill sets. Does he have Java? Does he have, you know, certain things like that? And maybe experience. We no longer depend just on that. We look at if that person comes with set of other attributes where he can quickly make an impact, learn, able to pivot, take decisions, right? Articulate story, I mean, tell the story of what he is doing, right? So we have changed the way we hire. So now when we hire, we look at holistically the whole process. Does he think this engineer, because he has to come with other sets of skills. It's no longer just software engineering or coding. He has to come about, can he ask the right questions? Can he think? Is he logical? Does he have empathy? Because without that, we have realized that it is not possible to get the outcomes that we require. So in that sense is where, when we talked about the jobs changing, the kind of jobs that used to be there before, the traditional kind of jobs, are changing and replaced by a different set, right? So for instance, just today, I was talking with another colleague of mine in the leadership team about how do we change learning in our organization. Because we all talk about learning. We all talk about the speed at which we need to pivot. Because, in our organization, for instance, we release products every month. That is how quickly the technology changes, right? When you're doing that, you also need to train the people who handle these products or use these products, plus the ones who are coming in and they need to learn how to, upgrade them and all that. How do we make sure that they are equipped to pick up these things and run with it? So we learned that, we have realized that the traditional form of learning, get in, go to your LMS system or whatever it is, you go through a set of courses, that is not going to help us, because by the time we update a course in the traditional learning system, the technology has changed. So we are now embedding GPTs, ChatGPT into it to see whether it can connect to different, there are things called connectors now. And I'm sure, you can explain better, in your product world, you do see that. Basically, GPT gets connected to different databases to pull the data and information or documentation, right? So that it creates on its own modularized learning or micro-modularized learning that helps people to understand and learn quicker. So we were looking at creating micro-learning modules. We are using AI tools to create AI avatars that would train the people. So no longer we require trainers or instructor-led trainings. It's completely self-serve. So there is a lot of things that are changing. And when we look at that, the workforce has to change as well. So it is basically adapt or unfortunately perish, because it is the hard truth. And it is no longer, and AI is a great leveler, by the way. I cannot say that at my level, AI is not going to impact me. So if I don't understand it, and I don't pivot, and I don't learn as well, it will come for my job too. Because I have to make the right decisions, right, at the right time. So AI, whether you are a fresher or a senior exec of a company, you will need to keep learning. You will need to change. So that way, the dynamics is going to change. And of course, you might not need the same number of people. Like, for instance, in our organization, we always talk about, we may never hire in thousands and thousands, because 30 to 40% of the jobs, AI is already bringing in efficiencies. And this has happened just over a period. We have been talking about it. We have been thinking about it. But the way that we have implemented it in the just last few months, it's just taken a complete route. So it is inevitable. I hope it answers your.
Thank you, Suja ma'am.
So there's time for one more question. And if there are, I'm sure there'll be many more questions. We'll be around. We can talk to us individually. But
I have a question.
Thank
In
you.
Operation Sindoor, was AI in playing a role? Possibility of AI playing a role in Operation Sindoor.
Oh, yeah, it is. That's why I was just saying that it is, I would say, significant work
Thank you.
happened through AI.
Thank you.
Right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. I think it was a lot of learning for me. I'm not a software expert or, but I am a user of OpenAI and all. So my question is, even when you talk about the deep fake, it's a product, like a cartoon. It's a product. It is, how best we can make a deep fake. It's an art. But my question is not related to that. So everything we talk about the positive and a lot of products and coming out, even deep fake is a product for me. But what I am thinking is engineered AI. For example, a university, I can target an AI and I can engineer it, and I can make, like a madman, I can make the whole thing working. It shows the wrong source of data. For example, actually it has taken the data from a particular source, but instead it shows a wrong data, like a virus or something like that. So do you have any thoughts about it? Thank you.
Thank you.
So your question was, how do we control that, right? So we spoke a bit about governance earlier. We spoke a bit about putting guardrails around those systems. But it has to be a continuous process. Like Mr. Raj was talking about hacking, right? But before hacking came in, we had frauds on checks, right? Banking, checks. It used to be a big deal, check fraud. Now we don't hear about that anymore because more money is there in other cyber crimes and phishing and many other things, right? So this also is going to be evolving. There are majority of the people are going to be consuming AI in a constructive way, but there will always be a set of bad actors who will be using the technology to address that, right? So if you're a businessman, if you can find a solution for it, you're going to be the next billionaire, right? You're going to be the next millionaire or billionaire. That is an opportunity too, but that's the reality. Any product that we are going to be launching, you need to build in strong governance around it. You need to put strong control systems around it. And for example, right, one of the simple ways in which that is being done these days is you have a model, a large language model or a SLM, small language model, which is doing an action, right? An agent. Now what you do is you develop another agent which monitors this one and put a control around this one, right? And you could even have 3 other agents monitoring this one in parallel and take an average. There are algorithms where you take a combination-based decision, whether this particular one that the primary model took, right, the decision that it took, should it be published or should it be discarded? So you can build an automated system itself around it. And if that doesn't work, that is when you're going to be bringing a human in the loop. Right? So those controls are absolutely important because if you don't put that in place and if you don't test and control it, you cannot deploy this in mission critical applications.
So thank you for that very nice answer. And thank you, Pradeep, Suja, and Vinod, for sharing your knowledge and expertise with this appreciative audience. And thank you also to the audience because you have sat patiently through this long panel discussion. Hopefully you got some value, but we sincerely appreciate all of you listening carefully.
Thank you, dear panelists. Now may I invite Mr. E.M. Najib, sir, to kindly come forward and hand over a memento as a token of appreciation to Mr. Raj Nair, sir. I request Dr. Sahadullah, sir, to kindly hand over the memento to Mr. Pradeep Jayaraman. Requesting Mr. Suresh Babu AS, sir, to kindly hand over the memento to Ms. Suja Chandi. And may I invite Mr. S. Ramnath to kindly hand over the memento to Mr. Vinod Khadar.
They can set now.
May I request all the speakers and the session chair, Mr. Raj Nair, to proceed to the right of the stage for that group photo, please, to mark this impactful beginning of the convention. Ladies and gentlemen, what an inspiring evening it's been. And as the session winds down, we now invite you to transition to an evening of celebration, connection, and camaraderie. A big thank you to our sponsors whose support made TRIMA 2025 possible. The gala dinner and networking evening is about to begin, a time to unwind, exchange ideas, and enjoy the company of fellow delegates. Kindly make your way to the banquet hall where a warm and welcoming experience awaits. We look forward to seeing you here tomorrow.